shack at. The bottles getting nifty up the crack and we stacking chips, all of it's what I want. Plus money winners, that's what I'm on. You can say I'm gone. I prefer elevated pub sports radio. Time to get educated, get produced, leave the juice, letting loose with so much abuse that the bookies wanna call a truce. They getting slaughtered. Can't forget Jeff and low baggers in the chat. That's a lethal weapon 'cause we be pubbing.
What up, cappers, gamblers, punters, hustlers, low baggers, coming off a giant, glorious Thursday. 13-4 plus 9.46 units. 3-0 in the NBA plus 3 units. So we're now 9-2 on the week in NBA plus 6.7 units. 5-1 in college hoops plus 3.9 units. We're 13-9 on the week plus 3.1 units. 5-3 in NHL plus 2.56 units. We're 9-8 on the week plus 1.81 units. We're 31-19 on the week plus 11.61 units. And we got to keep it rolling. So, it's not been a good year. But we're hitting hard right now, and it means a lot. I want my bankroll to be thick, strong, especially with San Antonio coming up here. And we're moving in the right direction. It feels really, really good. Let's stay focused and keep winning. We have 2 games in NHL off the top with Bobano. We're going to blow through them pretty quick. Then we are going to focus on college basketball. We have 18 games that Bobano and I will be breaking down. Basically 6 afternoon games, 6 sort of that middle slot around 7 p.m. games, and then 6 games from 9 p.m. and later. Going to cover it all. Then DutchBoyFresh joins us in NBA. And again, we're on a 9-2 week so far in NBA. Feels really good. Let's stay focused and keep winning. Shout out to all the cappers joining us. This is a group. This is a team effort. These are team victories that we're having right now. Real Deal Prime in the house. There's Jay Smooth, JW, Deshaun G, Fat Wally has a 3-team parlay here. I'm going to copy and paste it here. Thank you for sharing that with us, Wally, my dude. Get this here right now. Lock that in. Jason Torgy, there's Razor Sharp Picks. Conference Tournament Mayhem tonight. Starting at 8:45 p.m., starting Razor Sharp Picks and Dabby Cab. Huge games popping off at 9. Here is the place you want to be on Pub Sports Radio with Razor Sharp Picks. Picked up another K on a multi-race wager, a little pick 3 yesterday. The man is just running hot. No better company to have on a Friday night than Razor Sharp Picks. There's J-Dub, the Nuke Worker, Nut Flush, Allen, Rocco Rogers, Billy Friedrich, Rick J. Only loss was the last leg USC. Arizona State. I can't wait to talk about that game. That'll be later in the show, quite a bit later. Bo Jackson, Imp 13. Jimmy Gomez says, morning, Jimmy. Morning, everyone in the chat. Low baggers, happy Friday. There's Justin McElvey, Ryan Mueller, Rick J. And Jimmy Gomez, look at that ticket booked to Pub 2. Look at that. Jimmy Gomez going to be rolling with us once again. That's the best news, man. That's the best news. Slatsy coming off a 7-2 day in NHL last night. I thought it could have even been even bigger. For us all, but still a solid winning night with some great looks. We'll get into that here in a bit. Nutflush Allen, Alex Hills, Michael Johnson, Dana Delp, Tay Butta. Rocco Rogers says NHL was awesome last night. Feels good to know when I can trust my Blues. Yeah, it was great. It was great work with us on the Blues. Rick J, Rem Most. Rem Most giving us Oscar looks. There's money to be made in that. No laughing around. There's money to be made in Oscar looks. Best costume design Elvis for Rem Most. Alex Hill says save props are on fire. Let's get to work here. I love it. I love it. A nuclear says I find I learn a lot more when I listen instead of talking. Took me a while to figure that out. That was one of the biggest lessons that our Pistol Pete Loshak taught us was listening. Focus on listening. I learned it when I was younger, in comedy, especially there are 2 ways. I mean, obviously in improv, which whatever. But listening, you have to listen. But it's more when you are heckled. And when I started my career, man, I got heckled more than any other comic there was. And, you have to listen so clearly. And then the main thing is you repeat what the heckler said to you. Just repeat it. Not only does it give you time to set up for a comeback, but also the audience may not have all heard it. So the audience needs to hear the heckle. You repeat the heckle. Gives you a second. Then you hammer home. Jimmy Gomez, I can't believe it. I'm so excited that you're coming. Ryder, Bailey, Mal. Ryder saying, okay, no one talked to Nas Nate's trying to focus on cutting. Nut Flush Allen, our guy Nas Nate, hard at work and also capping here, making cash. Mal, Harold Williams, Jack Rosenblatt, Joe Ortner, RVD 420, Rob Garvey, Occupancy, Moneyline Mills, Serious Business, Jay Peasy, AOD. Jose Bouquet's his official WBC bets and videos start tonight. Can't wait. Shout out to Jose Bouquet. Jose, thank you for hooking us up with these banners. I don't know if you are possible, but the NBA one isn't up here. And we're not going to be there for 2 hours. So I know you're so busy in Miami, but if you could fire it in, log it in, I would be I tried to do it, but I was a little panicky before the show. Little panicky without Jose Bouquet rolling with me. There's Nasty Nate in the house. There's Von Polo. All right, there's Tori Coker. Wow, what a day yesterday. 13-4 plus 9.46 units. Not going to talk about it again, but feels good. We're going to open up with NHL with a Bobano. We had a nice day in NHL yesterday. We went 5-3 plus 2.56 units. Lost with the Lightning -1. I've been doing a lot of losing with the Lightning. Devils -1 was a push. Coyotes, first period plus 120. Full game plus 140. I begged Gokster to take it off his parlay. The first 3 legs cashed. I said, don't put the Predators on your parlay. Blues -1 plus 114 cashed. Avalanche -1 lost. But remember, I said my favorite bet on the board was Kings Colorado over 6. Now, it took a while to get there, but we got there. Dallas Buffalo over 6.5. 14 goals were scored. And New York Pitt under 6. Look, I thought I was going to cash that when it was 3-1 with 6 minutes left. But it is what it is. Real Deal Prime says, if I hear or say anything negative about the Sabres, okay, Real Deal Prime, not from us. Not from us. Let's bring on the star of our Friday shows. Can't wait to work with him. We're going to get through NHL very quickly. 2 quick games. I have 1 bet. We'll see what he has. And then we will focus on conference tournament mayhem. And don't forget our big show tonight with Razor Sharp Picks and Dabra Kadabra. Please welcome from Canada's black and yellow, Hamilton, Ontario, Steel Town, Mr. Ian Cameron. Bobano, how are you, my friend?
Very good, Jimmy. I don't think I've left this room all week, but that's okay. It's that kind of week. It's wall-to-wall action.
It's fun. It's so much fun, especially if you are winning. And we've been doing a lot of that on the show all week. Let's keep it rolling. You are the right man for the job. Clint says, go Yotes. You have to buy a jersey now because of all the money you won on them. I was great. I was so confident in that hockey team. I keep saying they're going to give us a ton of value down the stretch. They're fighting. They're playing hard, and Nashville's atrocious. Let's get to work here, Bobano, my friend. We open up with NHL. And another thank you to our guy, Jose Bouquet, who's given us these banners. And also, don't worry, I will timestamp everything when the show's over, much to my chagrin. Not very enjoyable. There's LG, Mike Wilkerson, Bankroll Spence. Let's get to work. Bobano, we start at 7 p.m. Eastern. The Chicago Blackhawks, 22-37-5, 9-19-2 on the road at the Florida Panthers, 32-27-6, 18-10-3 at home. And shout out to Real Deal Prime, now a member of Pub Sports for 3 months. I love it, Rem. Thank you. Chicago 5-5 over their past 10. If you've been betting on them over their past 10, you've made a lot of money. I haven't been. But if you have, you've made a lot of money. 16.7% power play, 73.1% penalty killing. I haven't been fading them. I don't fade the Blackhawks or the Habs. Florida 6-4-0, 7.4% power play, 67.6% penalty killing. Let's go into the odds here for this spot. I did move on this game. This is my lone bet. And you guys know what it is. I've been talking about it nonstop, that the market has not corrected itself with Florida playing to unders. They've been playing the unders. We've been cashing unders. They've scored 12 goals in their past 5 games. We easily cashed the Knights Florida under, and I'm going right back to the well. There was a time when the Blackhawks couldn't score. Now, they erupted for 5 goals against Ottawa a couple games ago. Or was that their very last game. That was, because they played Detroit on Wednesday, and they didn't look bad against Detroit either. Here we go, line-wise, Florida opening up at minus 392. They're now minus 444. That was just ludicrous. I can understand if anybody wanted to take a shot with the Blackhawks at that price. This total opened up at 6.5. Look at that. Minus 119 to the over. Wow. This got up to minus 125 to the over. It's now minus 103 to the over. Wow. I got the under 6.5 at plus 105. It's at minus 109 at Pinnacle. It's at minus 115 at Bet365. I beat that move by 20 cents. I wasn't sure if I was going to move on this game at all, but I did think that I had to move on this one. We have Mrazek listed. I'm not sure if he's going to be, and it could be Staylock. Do you have an idea, Bobano, who will be in between the pipes for the Chicago Blackhawks?
That's probably going to be a Staylock, but I don't believe we know for sure yet.
Yeah, so we'll be waiting on this. Bobrovsky will be in net with the issues. We think, because they got a busy stretch here, and with Spencer Knight dealing with his demons, they're playing Bobrovsky a lot. So let's go into this. Blackhawks coming off their 5th loss in 6 games, 4-3 at Detroit on Wednesday. Panthers coming off their 3rd win in 4 games, 2-1 at home over Vegas on Tuesday. As I said, 12 goals in their last 5 games. Barkov has had a much tougher year offensively without Huberdeau beside him. They've kept Barkov and Tkachuk on different lines most of the year. I don't really have a legitimate reasoning for why that is. Duclair missed practice Thursday. He was sick. He's considered a game-time decision. He's on that top line with Barkov. He's played 5 games this season, a goal and 2 assists, returning from Achilles surgery. I'm on the under 6.5, and I love seeing this market move. Take it away for us here, Bobano, Blackhawks, Panthers.
Yeah, this is going to be a prop game for me. We're going to have a few props for official plays in this game. Nothing on the side, nothing on the total here. This is going to be a game where we can expect Florida to control the play, because that's usually what happens with the teams facing Chicago is they control the play. They have the better of it. They shoot the puck more. They have more chances, more opportunities. I would expect that tonight from the Florida Panthers here in this game. So the target becomes. I'll definitely say this. I think if you like, there's 2 saves props I like on the board tonight, and they're involving Calgary shooting the puck a lot against Anaheim. We'll get to that. And certainly I think Florida against Chicago. So whoever the goalie's going to be for the Ducks and for the Blackhawks tonight, look for the over saves prop, because these are teams that give up a lot of shots, and the 2 teams they're facing tonight have the chance to fire and pepper a lot of shots at these respective teams. So, for me, definitely I'm interested in looking at shots on goal. Alexander Barkov's a shooting machine right now. We're definitely going to lock him in for over shots on goal tonight. Since he's been back from his recent injury, it's over, by the way, 2.5, 3. Let's go with the 3.5 here at a better price. 3.5 plus 105 at Bet Rivers for Barkov over shots on goal. Since he's been back from his recent injury stint, he was out for 3 games there. 5 shots on goal against Pittsburgh and 4 against Vegas. So he cleared 3.5 shots on goal in those games. 3 games before that 3-game absence for Barkov, he had 4 shots on goal. So to me, getting over, like 2.5 is juiced at a lot of books, minus 190. I ain't taking that. But over 3.5 plus 105, we're talking about a guy 5 straight games over 3.5 shots. I like the price. I like the number. Over 3.5 shots on goal for Barkov in this game. For the Florida Panthers. Tkachuk, this is going to be a lot of shots on goal props for me in this game. Tkachuk is trending over his shots prop. I just want to make sure it's a reasonable price right now. But let me see. Over 3.5 is, we'll take it. Over 3.5 minus 154 at FanDuel with his over shots on goal prop. Again, he's gotten in the last few games 4, 4, and then 6, 6, 6. So 5 of the last 6 games, He's gone over 3.5 shots.
Very quickly, Bobano, a huge difference in markets. It's available at plus 114 at Bovada for. Oh, sorry, I was thinking of Tkachuk. Okay, but 9 cents better. That's still good for Barkov. So I'll give you the plus 114. Sure. Sorry, I thought there was a crazy 68 cents discrepancy. Sorry,
I wish I'd be jumping on that.
Yeah, that's why I interrupted. My bad. Keep rolling. You're rolling great.
Yeah, Tkachuk minus 154 with the minus 154 with over 3.5 shots on goal for Tkachuk in this one. And I think there was one more that I was looking at here for Florida in terms of shots here. Oh, Ekblad too. Ekblad, I think probably will be 3.5 we're going to look in that direction as well. This is something I like doing because, the one thing, and you're right, with Florida, I don't trust them to fully put these pucks in the net. That's been a little bit their issue. I expect them to have a lot of shots, a lot of chances, but I don't know if I expect them to shoot the puck a lot or put the puck in the net as much as their shot total tonight might indicate. So, yeah, Ekblad is over 3.5 minus 105. We'll roll with that for sure. And the last one I'm going to go with, since he's been back from his 6-game absence, Sam Bennett. He's been going over shots, 3 and 7 shots in the last 2 games. So we're going to also add Sam Bennett to the card here. Sam Bennett over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 144 at FanDuel. Nothing on the side, nothing on the total. I don't trust Florida enough in a price range like this. There's no value in the reg line. There's not even great value in the first period puck line. And I don't think I want Chicago either, because if Florida is any bit serious about still trying to make the playoffs, they have to win this game and they have to beat the Chicago team. So I'm off the side, nothing on the total. We're just sticking to, I believe, that quartet of Florida Panthers shots on goal props.
And it is a lovely quartet. Barkov over 3.5 shots plus 114. Kachuk over 3.5 minus 154. Ekblad over 3.5 minus 105. Bennett over 2.5 minus 104. And I'm on the under 6.5. I got it at plus 105. It's now minus 115 at Bet365. 20-cent victory there. Let's roll on. Those of you excited about college basketball, so are we enormously. 18 games we are going to be capping right after this second hockey game. 6 in the afternoon, 6 in that early evening spot, and 6 on the late slot. Let's move on. 7 p.m. Eastern, Anaheim Ducks 21-35-9, 10-19-7 on the road at the Flames, 29-23-13, 15-13-3 at home. We're at Scotiabank, Saddledome, Calgary, Alberta. John Gibson versus Jacob Markstrom. Let's take a look at the line history here. I can't think about whenever I say Saddledome, I just think of the good old days when I was a comic. Anytime Calgary was playing at home, you went right to the poker room at the was it the Saddledome Casino, whatever the casino that's right connected to Saddledome, and you sit down about 20 minutes before the game ends. The drunks come in, and it's the wildest 2.5 hours and the easiest money you could possibly imagine. And we would do it every single time that we weren't gigging. Here we go. Calgary opening up at minus 345. They're now minus 375. Another swing towards a huge favorite. This total opened up at 6. It moved to 6.5. Moved to 6.5. Now there's plus money on the over there. Markstrom, $6 million per year through 25, 26. Puts a huge smile on my face. I hope you Flames fans enjoy that weight around your neck. Gibson, look, his contract's not too helpful either. 13-24-7, 3.89 goals against average, 902 save percentage, 1 shutout. Anaheim 4-3-3, 17.2% power play, 70% penalty killing over the last 10 games. Shout out to Vipe. And there's Nutflush, who is such a incredible poker player as well. I'm not sure. Is he coming to San Antonio? Because if he doesn't, it's going to help our chances at winning the tourney. Calgary 4-4-2, 18.2% power play, 78.6% penalty killing. The Ducks coming off their second straight loss in 3rd and 4 games, 3-2 in overtime at Vancouver on Wednesday night. Zegras has disappointed me. But, it's tough being on a losing team when you're used to winning. Him and Mason McTavish are good pieces to build around. But this has been an awful season. Adam Henrique was one of the lone bright spots, 19 goals this year, accountability defensively, wins faceoff. He's done for the year with a sprained MCL. Flames come in off their second straight win, 1-0 in a shootout at Minnesota on Tuesday. Tyler Toffoli been excellent this year, 26 goals, 28 assists, 54 points, 65 games. That was one of the most angry we have been as a marketplace when we let Toffoli go to a contract that was decent. That was a legit contract. It wasn't overpaying. We wanted him. He's a plus 10. And everybody else, except maybe Michael Backlund. Backlund's had a pretty good season. Everybody else is underachieved for the Flames. Kadri, 47 points, 65 games, a team worst, minus 13. Huberdeau, 12 goals, 30 assists, 42 points, 62 games. He's a minus 6. I've got nothing of interest here, although I would like Mason McTavish. I'm a Mason McTavish fan, but I've got nothing of interest financially. Take it away for us here, Bobano Ducks Flames.
One more prop I forgot before we get there about the Florida game. We're going back to our guy who's been a point prop machine for me. Point prop on E2 Cool Mint Lusterinen for the Florida Panthers. He's minus 118 at FanDuel. E2 Lusterinen. I call him Cool Mint Lusterinen because it sounds like Listerine. his last name. Minus 118 at FanDuel for him to get a point. So there we go. That's the last one with the props there. As far as this game goes, this is the same. Like, this is, what are you going to do with these two games, right? I mean, obviously they're two big favorites. I don't want to lay minus 415 with Calgary right now. I don't trust Anaheim either in this game. I almost bet the over here, almost, but Markstrom's starting to play better. That game he played against Dallas was probably the best game he's played this. Not probably, it was the best game he's played this season. He was spectacular in that, and that's the kind of goaltending they're going to need from Jacob Markstrom moving forward in that, and the Minnesota game rather, that they won in a shootout 1-0. He was pretty damn good actually in the last couple of games as well for the Flames. So he's played a lot better. It's kind of like playoff hockey. It could be low scoring. Calgary's starting to look like a team that wants to play that Daryl Sutter style again. 2-1, 3-0, 1-0. The scores in 3 of the last 4 games. So, I was leaning on over the total, but I pumped the brakes on it. So I'm going to look more at props again here with Anaheim and Calgary. But you look at this game, again, there's been several Calgary Flames players that, if anyone's watched my hockey show, the Ice Guys, you know it. We've been betting the shot props with these players repeatedly for the Calgary Flames, and they have just been a gold mine for player shot props. And Tyler Toffoli is one. Michael Backlund is another. I'm just making sure the juice isn't too bad. We are talking a bad Anaheim team. So Toffoli now, they've juiced it to minus 175. That's a little too much for me to take him in terms of the shot prop. You'd have to bet 3.5 at this rate. Let me just see what his numbers have been lately in terms of the shots on goal. 3, 4, 1. See, he's only gone over 3.5 once in his last 4 games. So I'd pump the brakes on Toffoli tonight. They've made an adjustment in terms of the price. In terms of Michael Backlund for Calgary, his shots on goal prop is 3.5, 2 plus 110 at the score bet. But with him, I think he's been more likely to go, to the 4+ shots on goal in some of the recent games for Calgary. And let me just see what he's got. Yeah, see, he's gone over 3.5 shots, Michael Backlund, in all but one of his last 11 games. So he's 10-1, basically over 3.5 shots on goal. So that's why I much prefer Backlund in this game, because the percentages say he's been going over 3.5 quite a bit. So over 3.5 plus plus 110 at the score bet. So that's over 3.5 shots on goal, plus 110 at the score bet for Michael Backlund. And Blake Coleman's the other one. Blake Coleman is someone that I've noticed all over the ice lately for Calgary. This has been about 3 or 4 games now where he's really been, picking up his game, getting involved more offensively, getting in and trying to find and jam in the puck right around the goal crease. I know he got held to no shots on goal by Minnesota in the lap, but Calgary didn't have many shots in that game against Minnesota as a team. Before that, Blake Coleman had 5, 4, 5, 3, and 3 shots on goal in 5 games before that Minnesota game. So he had gone over 2.5 and 5 straight before the last game against the Minnesota Wild. So we're going to get in on that one as well. It's Blake Coleman over 2.5 shots on goal, minus 135 at DraftKings. So that's another one. And I think there was one point prop that I was interested in here for tonight. I'm just checking the lineup here tonight, but there was one that I was interested in terms of the point prop. Oh yeah, this is the one I believe here for the Calgary Flames. Rasmus Andersson, the defenseman. I don't know what it is lately, but suddenly, he's been a little more active, a little bit jumping into the play just a little bit more, getting involved a little bit more in the offense. Point prop for him is minus 145 at DraftKings. It's a solid look. He's definitely been noticeable, and he's been getting more involved in the offense right now for the Calgary Flames. So, yeah, Rasmus Andersson point for Calgary, minus 145, and that's it.
You got it. Backlund over 3.5 shots, plus 110. Coleman over 2.5 shots, minus 135. Andersson point at minus 145. We talked about the 4-player props. 5 with Lustrainen is a point of a minus 118. 5-player props in the first game. And I'm on the under 6.5 at plus 105. Again, that's moved 20 cents. And I only betted it, I want to say, 8.
Give me Blake Coleman point too, Jimmy. I'm looking at the point prop for Blake Coleman. I have the shots on goal already. Give me that point prop. Blake Coleman to get a point is plus 100 at DraftKings. I ain't passing that up.
All right, you are in business. In business. That is NHL. Let's hit the sport we all want to talk about. Move the NHL action banner to NCAA basketball action. Coming off a 5-1 day. I was fortunate to cash Baylor first half -2.5, and I lost Baylor a full game -4.5. UConn first half -4, cashed very easily, pushed UConn -7, and the Providence team total under 68.5 I cashed. Providence only scored 19 points in the first half. Thought it was going to be an easy casher. If Providence hits that 3 with 3 seconds left, I lose the team total and I lose the full game. So it comes down to that. Best call of the day, Virginia -2.5. And North Carolina, Virginia under 129. I think they ended up at 127, but it was a no sweat situation.
Such a classic example of must win doesn't equal will win. It was a must win for North Carolina, but doesn't mean you're going to win. Simple as that.
Well, exactly. Exactly. Do you think Virginia doesn't want to win here as a spotlight situation where all the fans are wearing teal? I mean, come on. I was completely in agreement with you. BJ is best bet, Duke money line. Love hearing that. That's the only bet that I've made so far today. Let's get to work. We have 18 games in NCAA basketball, and we are ready to get that cash. We open up. And again, I will timestamp it. Our producer, Jose, in Miami for the World Baseball Classic. I'll timestamp this all after the show. Let's set up the line movement and the cash flow here. I came close to making a couple other moves, but I thought, why not talk it out with the group before pulling the trigger? All right, let's get to work. Conference mayhem. 12 p.m. Eastern, Big Ten tournament quarterfinal. Rutgers, Scarlet Knights, 19-13, 10-10 in conference at the number 5 ranked Purdue Boilermakers, 26-5, 15-5 in the Big Ten, and we're at the United Center in Chicago. Let's see what we are dealing with line history-wise here. And it's bounced back and forth from 7 to 6.5 for Purdue, but they opened up at Pinnacle at -5. They got to -7.5. They got to -7.5 35 minutes ago. There's been a 1-point buyback. Happened at 11:09. Happened 21 minutes ago over at Pinnacle. So we have a 6.5 over there. Let's go over to Bet Online. Bet Online opened this up at -5.5. They're at -7. Totals wise, this opened up at 128. It's dropped a point to 127. I came so close to betting this a couple times. The money's been coming in on Rutgers in the last hour and a half. Right now, 36% of the tickets and 38% of the cash is on Rutgers. So you have slightly bigger bets on Rutgers. Mike Wilkerson says Rutgers with the spread. Regis Austin says Baylor first half and full game. There's my guy Sean Pulliam in the house. Harold Williams says Rutgers +6 leaning. Haven't made the bet yet. Totals wise, we have 61% of the tickets and it just went down from 84. 77% of the cash on the under. A tricky under to trust because it's so low, but I think it appeals to me a little bit. This is only dropped here at Bet Online since it opened at 12:40 in the morning, a little after midnight. There's C. James in the house. So let's set this table here for Bobano. This game popping off in 29 minutes. Rutgers snapped their 2-game losing streak and opened their conference tournament with an impressive 62-50 win yesterday versus Michigan. 2.5-point dogs. Spencer went for 19. Derek Simpson went for 13. Their defense completely shut down Michigan's offense in the second half. Purdue opens up their tournament here. They come in off their second straight win and third in their last 4 games, 76-71 at home over Illinois on Sunday, 6.5-point favorites. They had their season opening 13-game winning streak snapped at home on January 2nd by these Scarlet Knights as 8.5-point favorites in their lone meeting this year. Generally, I would think Rebenga and want to back Purdue, but I'm hesitant. Shogun Soup says Rutgers think they won already. I don't know if I quite think it's that extreme. Dabby Cab is on Purdue first half -3.5, and I'll copy and paste his other action. Thank you for sharing that with us, Dabby Cab. Take it away, Bobano. Big Ten quarters, Rutgers, Purdue.
Yeah, Rutgers probably got in the tournament with the victory over Michigan. Everybody seems to think that was a win and you're in the tournament type of deal for that game yesterday. And it was was it an impressive second half? I mean, that's what Rutgers can be defensively when they're locked in. I mean, Michigan was just perilous against that Rutgers defense. When they can bring it like that, they are very good. 35% shooting, 33%. Basically, they said, Dickinson, we'll let you get yours. We'll shut everybody else down. That's exactly the game plan for Rutgers. I think they're going to employ that same strategy here against Purdue. Zach Edey, we'll let you go crazy. We'll let you go. We'll let you get maybe 30 points here, but we'll shut everybody else down. We'll stop Brandon Newman. We'll keep Braden Smith under wraps. We won't let Fletcher Lawyer get his shot away. I think that's going to be the game plan here for Rutgers. And because it worked yesterday against against Michigan, they're thinking it's going to work against Purdue. Here's the way I see this game. It's Rutgers or pass for me. But my concern with Rutgers is you got the huge win. You're probably in the tournament, right? It's almost like that. Take a deep breath, exhale. This game's suddenly not as significant. And there is that revenge angle. Purdue lost to them at home earlier this year. So, yeah, I lean Rutgers, though. I ain't laying points with Purdue, not 7 on a neutral court, not the way they're playing, not the way they're not covering lately. They have not been a good basketball team or as good lately. I know they got a win against Illinois late in the season, but they blew a huge lead in that game, and they only won by 5, failed to cover, barely beat a mediocre Wisconsin team, lost to Indiana. Their only impressive game was an Ohio State blowout win against a Buckeyes team that's had a horrendous season. On the road, they lost at Maryland, lost at Northwestern, lost at Indiana. So, laying points away from Mackey, especially 7. I mean, at 5, okay, that maybe 7 now. It's getting up there. That's too high for me. Rutgers or pass, but I'm probably going to stay off.
Shogun Soup saying Rutgers went out to the club here in Chicago River North celebrating last night. They not locked in. So some inside information about Rutgers after.
Is that a fact or is that just thought?
Yeah, Shogun lives in Chicago.
Yep.
So and he says wouldn't be surprised if Purdue covers both halves. For me, this is Purdue or pass, and I lean to pass. Can you touch on this total? It pops off in 25 minutes, and I'm interested in moving on the under.
Yeah, definitely I would lean under. I mean, I certainly don't think there's going to be points in bunches in this game. Purdue is a post-oriented offense now, which means the pace is slower because of their big behemoth there, Zach Edey. Rutgers offense, the best of times isn't great. And the reason they won yesterday is because of their defense. It's not because they shot well. So I know, it's low total, 127. I hate betting totals that low. Unders that low. But that's the only way I could play it totals-wise.
And I think I just want to take a look at what
that might be the better bet, honestly, than a side in this game.
I feel like it's what makes the most sense to me. It has dropped a little bit down to 127. Wine Time Sports wants to back this under 127. I think I'm going to move on it to get my card started. The under 127. I'm going to have to bet that here. This game pops off in 24 minutes. I'm going to get that in the next 5 minutes. Sweaty Butcher moved on the first half under 59. I get it. I absolutely get why you would. And Dabby Cab giving us notes on the Iowa State-Kansas game. We will be talking about that. So let me copy and paste that and have that ready to go. That is the first game on the board, and it pops off here in 24 minutes. Your next game on the board pops off in 54 minutes. And let's get right to work there. The Conference USA Championship semifinal, 12:30 p.m. Eastern. Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, 19-13, 11-9 in conference versus the Florida Atlantic Owls, 29-3, 18-2 in conference. We're at the Ford Center in Frisco. Take a look at the line history here for this one. We have a huge move to Florida Atlantic. And I mean a monstrous move here. At Pinnacle, they opened up at 8. It's now 10.5. That last full point move from 9.5 to 10.5 happened 50 minutes ago, 5-0. Total wise, this opened up at 140. It's dropped a half point down to 139.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. 57% of the tickets and 60% of the cash is on Florida Atlantic. And clearly, the books are respecting the money bet by those cappers. This total opened up at 140.5. It's dropped to 138.5. It's dropped at 50-50 on that total, but 72% of cash is on that under. Middle Tennessee snapped their 2-game losing streak, opening their conference tournament with a very tight 66-65 victory over Charlotte yesterday as 2-point dogs. Florida Atlantic opened up their tournament with their 5th straight win, beating up on Western Kentucky 75-51 as 10-point favorites. Their last loss was back on February 16th. We were on Middle Tennessee. I didn't have a money line. Middle Tennessee went outright 74-70, but we were on Middle Tennessee in that spot on February 16th. Florida Atlantic had defeated Middle Tennessee at home very easily back on January 26th, 85-67. DC Capper has the under 141 here. Billy Friedrich says, I think FAU wins, but that's too many points. Jack Rosenblatt says FAU under was money yesterday. Shogun Soup is on the under 140.5 on this one. Take it away here, Bobano. Conference USA Championship semis.
Yeah, this is an interesting game, but I know there's some people that are on the under here. I'm going the other way now that it's this low at 138. I mean, we saw both meetings between these two teams go over 138 this year. When they played each other during the regular season, there was 144 in the most recent meeting, 74-70. And then back in January, it was 85-67, Florida Atlantic, 152 points in that game. So I feel this total's fallen a little bit too low. Down into the 130s here now. And Middle Tennessee, look, they're not going to push pace necessarily. They want to slow things down. But you look at them here as of late, certainly defensively, they've played well. But again, they're going to be playing a team that's going to be able to score the basketball, and a team that lost to Middle Tennessee the last time they played. And I think Florida Atlantic will get their usual allotment of points. Usually you can count on Florida Atlantic to score mid-70s. And I think they're going to get that, maybe potential for 80 here as well. 75-51, they beat down Western Kentucky yesterday. They are certainly an excellent offensive team. They've been that way all season long. I have nothing on the side because Florida Atlantic, to me, is going to win this game. It's just a matter of, are they going to cover this number? They destroyed Middle Tennessee in the first meeting, and Middle Tennessee won the second meeting. They may not have any let up here today because of the fact they lost to this team the last time they played them. And Middle Tennessee had to gut it out against Charlotte. It was a down-to-the-wire game. It ended 66-65. They pulled it out. They were trailing for much of that game against Charlotte, and they found a way to win it late. I had to expend a lot of energy. That's not very good. It's not a good thing, I think, when you're coming back here on the second of back-to-back. So this total is just fallen too low now, so we'll get in on 138 over 138 minus 110 at Caesars.
Over 138 at minus 110 over at Caesars for the Conference USA Championship semis. Jack Rosenblatt on FAU first half minus 4.5. There's Rebenga involved here. I feel like even that first half has now moved too far. Let's just see what the line history of that first half is here. But it opened up at 4. You can get a 5 at Pinnacle. Heritage has moved it to 6. Good job getting that 4.5 for Jack Rosenblatt. 5.5 now at Bet365. It's getting up there. Why are you not on Florida Atlantic before we move on? You're muted, my guy.
Yeah, I still might get on them, but I don't love laying double digits when you're talking now the semifinal round of a conference tournament. I mean, crazy things can happen. I've seen teams with a big lead and just let the team slide right on in through the back door. It's just too many points. That's all. I mean, I certainly might bet it small, but nothing significant. It's just a lot of points in this kind of setting.
All right, we are locked in. I'm on the under 127 at minus 110 in Rutgers, Purdue. Bobano's on the over 138 at minus 110 in Middle Tennessee versus Florida Atlantic. Cavalcade of action here on Pub Sports Radio on this glorious Friday afternoon. Move on to the next spot here, AAC, the American Conference Championship quarterfinal here. East Carolina Pirates, 16-16, 6-12 in conference versus the number 1 ranked Houston Cougars, 29-2, 17-1 in conference. We're in Fort Worth, Texas for the American Conference Championships. Let's see what we are dealing with line history-wise. We have Houston opening up here at minus 21. At Pinnacle, they're now minus 23. Move over to Bet Online here for this one. Bet Online opened them up at minus 22.5. They got up to minus 24 at 4:45 this morning. That was the highest it got to. They're now down to 22.5. So there's been a 1.5 of buyback on East Carolina over at Bet Online. Totals wise, it's opened up at 133.5 and has not moved since 7:30 this morning. Take a look at the cash flow here for this one. We have let's go with Houston. 44% of the tickets are on Houston, but 61% of the cash is on them. Total-wise, 30% of the tickets and 67% of the cash is on the under. That's a decent amount of bigger bets coming in on the under with the books not moving a cent. Let's just see if Pinnacle has shown any kind of fear of the bigger bets that have been placed on the under, and they've juiced it a little bit. The initial move last night around 6:30 was towards the over. It got juiced 7 cents by 7 o'clock. It's now minus 112 to the under. There's been an 8-cent move to the under since 7 p.m. Is that a showing of fear? Probably not. Let's hear what Bobano has to say here. East Carolina versus Houston.
Yeah, I have to do it, Jimmy. The 23 points, really? 23 fucking points in a neutral court? I mean, that's a lot of points. I mean, Houston's got games tomorrow and Sunday as well if they advance. So is Kelvin Sampson going to say, let's bludgeon this team when we're up by 22 with 6 minutes to go? I can't imagine that. I got to imagine they're going to just, let's take it easy. Let's ease off the gas pedal. We're already a number 1 seed, in the NCAA tournament. So I'm on East Carolina here, plus 23. And they've actually played very much better down the stretch. Blew out South Florida in their first round tournament game yesterday, 73-58. And what that did was allow them to rest up a little bit because that wasn't a taxing game down the stretch. They were in cruise control down the stretch, no question about that. So I just feel 23 points in a conference tournament game on a neutral court is just too much. And let's keep in mind, too, they played back in February. Houston won by 19. East Carolina covered as 20.5-point dogs. That'll suit me just fine. Houston winning this game by 19 points here. So I like East Carolina here, plus 23, minus 110 at Bet Online.
Can get you a minus 105 here offshore, so we'll get you that plus 23 at minus 105. There's Guillermo Certucci in the house. Yes, 73-58 victory for East Carolina yesterday. Very easy over South Florida as 3-point dogs. Houston's won 11 straight. Their last game on Sunday, 67-65 at Memphis. They were only 4-point favorites in that spot at Memphis. And you're right, they only faced East Carolina once this year. Defeating them on the road as 21-point favorites, 76-57. Bobano,
look at these margins, 2-point margins, 17, 19, 8, 15. Okay, Tulsa was the 38-point win, and they beat Tulane by 30. Outside of that, everything's been below 23 points. So they have not been great winning by these kind of margins this year, Houston.
You are locked and loaded there. East Carolina plus 23 at minus 105. Let's keep rolling. Next up for us, SEC Tournament Quarterfinal. This one pops off in an hour and 14 minutes. Mississippi State Bulldogs, 21-11, 8-10 in conference versus the number 4 ranked Alabama Crimson Tide, 26-5, 16-2 in conference. We're at Bridgestone Arena in Nashville, Tennessee for this one. Let's immediately get into the line history. There's been a big move towards Alabama. I could have got in on Alabama at 7 had I wanted them. Even there was some 6.5s that I probably could have snagged. Now at Pinnacle, they're minus 8. There is a lot that correlates towards Alabama here. Almost everything. And I'll break down the one sort of thing, and it kind of is more of a psychological thing. But BetOnline has them at 7.5. BetOnline opened this at 6. Let's take a look at the total. This total opened up at 136.5 and is up to 139.5. There's been a big move to the over in the last 2 hours. So let's take a look at the cash flow and see. I already know that it correlates with Alabama. 55% of the tickets, but 66% of the cash. So bigger bets are coming in on Alabama. 86% of tickets, 83% of cash is on the over and clearly moving up. Rob Free says, give me Mississippi with the points. They rarely get blown out. There was a sense yesterday in that 69-68 overtime victory over Florida. They were 5-point favorites. There was a sense that the job's done. I watched the interviews after the game. There was a sense we did it. We're in the tournament. And that made me want to bet the Crimson Tide. Mississippi State turned the ball over 20 times and shot 2 of 14 from 3.
That recipe will get them crushed today, and they're not good defending the 3, Mississippi State. And who's got them one of the highest 3-point shooting rates in the college basketball? Alabama. So, yeah, I worry about the matchup. Go ahead.
It's a great angle. My issue here, so Alabama closed out the regular season with that 67-61 loss at Texas A&M Saturday, 1-point dogs. They turned the ball over 18 times and were 7 of 36 from 3. It's hard not to think that this Brandon Miller gun situation is not hanging over him. He's been 10 for 35 from the field over his last 2 games. He's 3 of 18 from 3 over the last 2 games. Alabama beat Mississippi State 78-67 on the road earlier in the year and then just barely squeaked past him at home 66-63 back on January 25th as 11.5-point favorites. Lee Davis is on Bama. Cashman says Alabama, number 1 rebounding NCAA. Ole Miss, horrible 3-point, while Bama, number 1 NC defending 3-point, 184-62 earlier this year. But this isn't, Ole Miss and Mississippi State here. With all that being said, I'm a little uncomfortable backing Alabama, even though everything lines up right if you take away this sort of cloud that may or may not be hanging over them. Take it away here, Bobano, SEC tournament quarters, Mississippi State, Alabama, Crimson Tide.
Yeah, this is one where I almost took Mississippi State, but because you're right, there's been an element to this team where you look at them, 3-point loss, 5-point loss, 2-point loss. They are very good at staying in games, but they had the win against Florida yesterday, which might have punched their ticket to the big dance. It was an overtime game, so they had to expend even more energy, and now you got to come back on a Saturday game, play a team that's going to push the pace, press you all over the court, and really try to, and for a team that had played the day before, that can wear you down quickly. And then you look at the matchup, and I just alluded to it. Mississippi State, offensively, it's still hit or miss. He is a good coach. Chris Jans is a phenomenal coach. A great hire from New Mexico State, Andrew. I agree with that. Maybe good enough. If you like Mississippi State the first half, maybe it might be the better option. Second half, they might get run out a bit. But the matchup concerns me, okay, because defensively, they can't defend the perimeter. They've not been able to defend the perimeter all year. They're a horrible 3-point defensive team, Mississippi State. Horrible. And Alabama is one of the highest 3-point shooting rate teams in the country. Very few shoot more threes than Alabama. And when they're going down and they have the chance to against a bad perimeter defense like Mississippi State, that could be trouble here for Mississippi State. So I worry about the matchup big time. I worry about you're right, their level of satisfaction, as Jimmy alluded to, with they won it yesterday, and maybe that's enough for them to get into the tournament. But there is a bet that I do like in this game, and that's where the market's moving totals wise in this game. I'm on over 139, minus 110 at Caesars. That is what we will lock in as an official play. I think it'll go over that number. Like I said, I think Alabama will even speed things up a little bit more, knowing Mississippi State had to play in overtime yesterday. They can't stop the 3-ball, and that is usually the death nail when you're playing Alabama. So I definitely think Alabama can get the pace they want. I think they will. I think it'll go over 139. And by the way, Mississippi State's been suddenly down the stretch an over machine. They've gone over the total 7-1 to the over in their last 8 games coming into this one. And Alabama had cashed 4 straight overs in their games until they played A&M. But A&M's great at just dragging you into a rock fight and a mud fight. And that's exactly what they did. I think you'll see points. Always a little concerned about overs in the early afternoon starts, but I'm looking past that in this situation. So we'll go over 139, minus 110 here.
You are locked in over 139, minus 110. So we both agree that statistically, there's a lot correlating with backing the Crimson Tide here. I've told you why I'm staying off of them. I just don't feel right with Brandon Miller right now. Some players, when they go through this controversy, they just want to be on the court. You remember Kobe going through the garbage in Denver. He just wanted to be on the court, and he was just a monster as soon as he stepped on the court. It doesn't seem that Brandon Miller is doing this. What is it that's keeping you off of backing the Crimson Tide here?
It's the points. It's laying 8. It's laying a sizable number against a team that's rarely been blown out. It's still the shit that's been, as you mentioned, that's been going on off the court. And because you look at Alabama too during this stretch, 5-point win, 3-point win, overtime win. Really, since this stuff really came to a head involving Brandon Miller, yeah, they've won 3 of their last 4. They've been tight. They've been close games. I mean, lowly South Carolina took them to overtime. So trusting this team to win by 8 right now on a neutral court it's not something I'm looking to do. They've got the potential. I think that this is a good matchup for them. They have the potential to do that today. But you've got a team that's not winning by big margins facing a team that isn't losing by big margins. So that's enough right there to say, hey, pump the brakes.
Yeah. Other than this, Brandon Miller, 3 of 18 from 3 over his last couple games, 10 of 35 from the field, knowing that he needs to be a big piece of the puzzle. Other than that, everything correlates with Alabama, but I'm not moving on them here. So let's move on to the next spot on the board. This one pops off in 2 hours and 37 minutes. Big Ten tournament quarterfinal. Ohio State Buckeyes 15-18, 5-15 in conference versus Michigan State Spartans 19-11, 11-8 in conference. We're at the United Center, back at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This wasn't a very, very interesting spot where I almost moved on Michigan State, but it felt like, we'll discuss it, but it felt like the bigger bets were coming in on Ohio State, and the books were opening their arms to that action. We'll see and decipher if that's continuing. Michigan State opening up at -3.5 at Pinnacle. They're now -4.5. Over at Bet Online, they opened this up -3.5, also -4.5. It got juiced as much as -115. Now the 4.5 for Ohio State is juiced. Totals wise, this opened up at 143. It's dropped all the way down to 137.5. This total has just dropped and dropped and dropped since it opened. Nutflush Allen is moving on the first half over 64 in the FAU game. All right, let's move on to Harry Pappas. I don't know how to explain that to you, but I use one book or one site for the line movement. Right now, I've moved from Sports Insights over to the Action Network for the cash, and then the rest is the notes that I've been working on, for hours and hours upon hours. So let's move on to the cash flow, and this is a extreme importance here with this spot. We have 49% of the tickets and 34% of the cash is on Michigan State. Bigger bets coming in on Ohio State, and yet the market just keeps moving towards, except for maybe the last hour and a half where some juices moved over to the other side, the market just keeps moving towards Michigan State. So let's break this down here. After a dismal 9-game losing streak, Ohio State has finished the year strong. They won for the second straight day here in the tournament, 73-69 over Iowa as 4-point dogs. They've now won 4 of 5. Their lone loss over that stretch was 6 days ago at the Breslin Center to these Spartans, 84-78 as 6.5-point dogs. It was the second time the Spartans had beaten them. They beat them badly, 62-41 at Value City. One could say that was the lowest point of the season for the Buckeyes. Take it away here, Bobano. Buckeyes, Spartans, Big Ten quarters.
Yeah, I mean, I think Michigan State's the only way to go in this game, and I did bet it. I don't know if I'm going to. There's something about the 4.5 that now that it's that number, but I think it's a Michigan State spot. Ohio State, yes, they have played now. This will be their 3rd game in 3 days, and this is sometimes where it shows up. Is in a spot like this. I mean, they played Wisconsin, Iowa. Both games were relatively close. Remember, they almost blew a big lead to Wisconsin in that first game and hung on to win. The Iowa game was back and forth. Both teams alternated the lead throughout. They hung on to win. They are feeling it right now. They've covered 5 straight. So this time of year, I don't like going against those streaking, surging teams that just out of nowhere, they after a brutal stretch, they catch fire. And Ohio State, I think, showing signs of that a little bit. But I think Michigan State probably does get them here and send them home. Michigan State, of course, they just beat Ohio State actually at the finale of the regular season, 84-78. That game, by the way, 5 straight Ohio State games, have gone over the total. Their offense has really picked it up of late. That's where I'm going to veer here in this game. 137, we're playing it over now with the total falling the way it has. I think it's fallen a little too low now. Over 137, minus 110 at Caesars. I'll definitely make that official. Lean Michigan State as well. Don't love the number at 4.5 though.
Well, I'm going to pull the trigger on Michigan State full game. I think I'm about 80% there. I've been trying to get there throughout. I think I can explain.
And I think that, I might do that. I might do that too, because that's a good point. And that's why I like the over, because they're going to push. During this stretch where they've, the 5 straight overs, every single time there's a missed shot from the opponent, they're pushing it in transition down their throat. And they might even do that even more today because of Ohio State playing 3 in 3 days, 3 games in 3 days. Tire this team out, right? Wear them out. This is going to be their 3rd game in 3 days, whereas you've rested as can be, and push that pace on them. And if they're the transition defense, to be honest, for Ohio State's not great in the best of times this season. So if Michigan State really gets that going here, it could be a problem. Definitely if Tyson Walker and Joey Hauser and guys like that are able to hit those transition buckets, this could be trouble here for Michigan State. So I'm just looking around here. Yeah, I'm gonna go with that. Actually, I'm definitely gonna go with this bet because at ProLine Plus, man, this book just I love the off-market numbers you get with this book, Jimmy. I never thought I'd be liking the OLG operated book as much as I do, but ProLine Plus does this. You can get better numbers there. I can get minus 3.5, minus 125 right now with Michigan State. So you do have to lay a little juice, but to get a full point better, I will do so. So we will lock that into Michigan State minus 3.5, minus 125.
I have a sneaking suspicion that I might, because it's 4.5 for me at minus 110, that I might be able to get a 4 if I just stay patient here.
Yep.
And that's what I'm going to do. I do believe that the late money will come in on Ohio State. A lot of rec money is going to come in on Ohio State. The late action, of course, coming from people who I don't want to say always sharp money comes in early, but there's got to be a bias of what people have seen from Ohio State here. So let's move. Yeah, ProLine Plus is an Ontario thing, Dan.
That is true, Dan. Yep.
Steve G says these kids could play 3 games a day and not get tired. 1 game is nothing. No, I don't. I think it's tough to play 3 games in 3 days. If you're playing another team that's played 3 games in 3 days, we won't talk about it. But yeah, they're young and yeah, they can roll, but I hear what you're saying, Steve. Everybody can handle these things differently, capping wise, and it's sort of a gray area as to what's right and what is wrong. Nunya in the house. All right, so I'm going to be on Michigan State. I'm almost fully there. As you know, when I need everything to correlate, obviously the only thing that's not correlating here is the fact that the bigger bets are being made on Ohio State. But why is the book moving in Michigan State's direction? Clearly opening up their arms to Ohio State cash. So my plan will be to move on Michigan State here. And I'm going to keep an eye out, see if a 4 might become available. Let's move on to 3 p.m. Eastern. And we'll let our guy, Stimmy OG, lead us into this. He has moved on the under 140.5 here in the SEC tournament quarters. Number 17 ranked Tennessee Volunteers, 23-9, 11-7 in conference versus Missouri Tigers, 23-8, 11-7 in conference. DC Capper, travel safe to the casino, my man, and get that cash. Respect.
Good luck to you.
Guy. DC Capper. All right, we're back at Bridgestone in Nashville for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here. And Stimmy on the under. This one pops off at 330. It says 330. I have 3, whatever. Here we go. We have Pinnacle opening up. Tennessee is 6-point favorites. They're now 5.5-point favorites. A slight move to Mizzou. Let's go over to Bet Online and see here. They're the opposite. They've opened this up with Tennessee at 5.5 and moved to 6. They've been bouncing back and forth from 5.5 to 6, 5.5 to 6. They're at 6 right now. So a slight move to Tennessee here at this book. Totals wise, it's opened up at 142. It's dropped all the way down to 139. So we've had just constant movement towards the under. So let's see where the cash is on this one. Move over here. We have 71% of the tickets and 70% of the cash on Missouri. So it's a big public dog situation, and the market just doesn't seem to be moving towards them. Let's take a look at the total. This total has 58% of the tickets and 90% of the cash on the under. Wow, 90% of cash on the under, and the books are concerned with that, moving towards the under. Tennessee opened up their conference tournament, winning their third in 4 games, 70-55 here yesterday over Ole Miss in convincing fashion as 12-point favorites. Missouri begins their SEC tournament after winning their 4th straight game back on Saturday, 82-77 at home over Ole Miss. Missouri faced Tennessee just once this year, and they squeaked past them, 86-85 on the road. They were 12.5-point dogs, big dogs in that spot here. Let me just pull it up. I just want to make sure that all of that is correct. I feel like let me just pull this up here very quickly. Sorry, this will just take 1 second. Just make sure I didn't mess this up. I remember I was shocked by the spread here in that spot against Missouri. 86-85 here for Missouri. 86-85 as 12.5-point dogs. That was back on February 11th. Mizzou shot 52.6% from the field and 53.8% from 3. This market just doesn't seem to respect the Tigers. Take it away, Bobano. Floor is yours. SEC tournament quarters.
Well, that's just fine because I don't respect the Vols. So that's the way I feel about this game. I like Mizzou here. I do. Look, Tennessee struggled for a very long time yesterday with Ole Miss, and Ole Miss is terrible. Absolutely awful season for them. And this is usually where you see Tennessee spit the bit in these SEC tournaments. When's the last time they've gotten to a final? I think it's been quite a while. You can get 6 now in some locations here with Missouri. I'm going to take the 6 with Missouri. I don't trust Tennessee here. Back-to-back for them coming into this game. Missouri now with a little bit of the freshness advantage as well going into this matchup. And the nice thing about Missouri is, Tennessee defensively certainly is very capable, no question, but I don't trust their offense. Again, Ziegler, one of their key guards, is also banged up and out for them as well, so that's not going to help them offensively either. I think Missouri, with their offensive capabilities, can hang within this number. Their performance away from home is a little concerning about Missouri. It's part of the reason why they're right on the bubble right now for the tournament. They haven't been great away from Columbia throughout the course of the season, but getting this number of points, Tennessee struggled with Ole Miss more than I thought they should have, so I like them here. +6, -115 at FanDuel, DraftKings for Missouri.
+6 at -115 for Mizzou. If I could just have seen a bit of a market move towards them, I'd be right there with you. 70% of tickets, 71% of the cash here. And it's nice that you got a 6, because right now where I'm looking, there 1-6, a kind of a dice book offshore. Shogun Soup says, okay, Bobano giving me more confidence. I am off of this spot. What up, Gifted Cartel? Thank you for joining us. Bobano, do you agree with this market move that Spot Stimio G's on the under in this one?
That could go either way. The Tennessee game, I believe, yesterday, it looked like I think it did. Did it go over the total? It was trending over the total much of the game. It was definitely on pace to go over. Let me just double check that. But no, it actually stayed under. First half flew over, but second half, it really, really slowed down. It ended up with 125. And like I said, that's because the Tennessee defense dug in the second half. But you can't compare Ole Miss offensively to Missouri. But, it's one of those pace wars where, Tennessee's going to want to slow it down a little bit. And Missouri obviously is a capable team of getting over. But I don't love it. But I don't love it either way. But because I lean Missouri, I kind of lean over. But Again, I'm just sticking to the side for the most part here. I lean over in this game, though.
That is our 6-game chunk of afternoon action. Now we're going to move into the 6 games of sort of mid-evening action. Let's review the afternoon action for Bobano and myself. I'm on the under 127 in Rutgers, Purdue that just popped off. Bobano's on the over 138 in Middle Tennessee, Florida Atlantic. He's on East Carolina plus 23 facing Houston. He's on the over 139 in Mississippi State, Alabama. He's on the over 137, and we're both going to be on Michigan State. He found a -3.5 and -125 at ProLine Plus. My line would be 4.5 right now at -110. There's been some late movement, about 7 cents of juice towards Ohio State over the last 45 minutes or so. I'm curious to see if I could get a 4. Again, that game doesn't pop off for 2 hours and 22 minutes. Then Bobano finishes off his afternoon official picks here on Betting with the Bag with Missouri +6. All right, let's move on. Johnny Gunn says Tennessee allowing 60, Mizzou allowing 68 in their past 5, trending under in his opinion. Billy Friedrich is on Mizzou plus the points and will sprinkle on the money line. All right, let's move on to 6:30 p.m. Eastern. And, sometimes that final shot goes your way and sometimes it doesn't. And when a shot earlier in a day goes your way and you're like, I think this is going to be a good day today. That happened for me in UConn. Providence yesterday. I was on UConn first half -4, full game -7, and Providence team total under 68.5. Providence only scored 19 points in the first half. I thought I was completely in business, but UConn took their foot off the gas. Providence came back, and then that last 3-pointer with 2 seconds left, I pushed the full game at 7. I would have lost that, and then I would have lost that team total under 68.5. So, this is a wild, wild ride. This life we've chosen. UConn Huskies, Big East Tournament semis, 25-7, 13-7 in conference. At number 6 ranked Marquette Golden Eagles, 26-6, 17-3 in conference. We're at Madison Square Garden in New York, New York. Let's start with the line history here in this great game that I can't wait to watch. This is popping off at 6:30. I wanted UConn, but I couldn't help but notice this move towards Marquette. Now, it's not at Pinnacle. At Pinnacle, there's been a 6-cent move towards UConn, -3.5 opener at -108 last night. It's now -114. Let's go over to Bet Online here. Bet Online opened this up at -4 for UConn. It quickly went to 3.5. In 12 minutes, it dropped to 3.5. It stayed there until 9 minutes ago. 9 minutes ago, Bet Online moved UConn back to 4. Total wise, this opened up at 146.5. There's been very little movement. It's sitting here at 147. Let's go over to the cash flow for this one, 6:30 p.m. We have 69% of the tickets and 79% of the cash on UConn. So why is the market not moving towards them? Let's go over to the total. This total is 53% of the tickets and 60% of the cash on the under. Maybe this is just a tight line. UConn opened up their tournament yesterday with their 6th straight win, 73-66 over Providence, 7-point favorites, 35-19.5. Marquette opened up their tournament yesterday by just barely getting past St. John's, 72-70 in overtime for their 7th straight win as 8.5-point favorites. They defeated UConn at home, 82-76, before UConn returned the favor, beating Marquette badly at home, 87-72 back on February 7th. What a game this is going to be. Big East Tournament semifinal. Bobano, take it away. UConn Marquette.
Yeah, I don't really want to step in front of UConn at Madison Square Garden. It's like another home game for them. That they historically play well in the Big East Tournament there, especially when they have good teams. Remember the Kemba Walker UConn teams? We keep going back to that years ago, how good they were. When they've got a good team, they're very good in this Big East Tournament, and they feed off this venue. No question about that. So, and look, they're playing well again. They had that little swoon earlier in the season, but they're 9-1 in their last 10. They're on a 6-game win streak, 5-1 ATS their last 6 games. They beat down Marquette the last time they played. Marquette got them in the first meeting. That was when UConn was starting that little struggle, that little swoon that they were going through there at that time. So, I think in this game I could only look at UConn, and I'm deliberating. I was deliberating actually coming into this show if I was going to make them official, because we're talking 3.5, 4 in this game. But I'll tell you right now, I think they're certainly the better defensive team. Albeit Marquette has improved defensively a little bit down the stretch. I think, the guard play has been better for UConn during this stretch. They're not turning it over as much. We know they've got a great big man in Adama Sanogo in the low post that can dominate, take over a game. I'm not sure Marquette has an answer for him. So I think UConn wins this game. I lean strongly to them. I'm just deliberating whether I'm going to go ahead and make it official.
I think that at this point, it's just I'm going to stay off here. I like UConn. I would like to back them in the tournament to some degree. Regis Austin says UConn more physical team. Billy Friedrich on UConn first half says UConn second best first half team. In both meetings with Marquette, they led 46-29 and 37-33 respectively in the first half. Would you be looking at a full game if you backed UConn, or do you like that first half look?
I unless I really, really like something in terms of the first half look, I try to stay to full game. So it would be a full game for me. Yep.
All right. No move for me here in that one. By the way, 7-2 Rutgers. 16-36.
Much to your delight, Jimmy. It's been a turnover fest so far and brick fest early on. So hopefully it stays that way.
Yes.
Especially for Purdue. Rutgers has actually made a couple shots.
Everything has been working nice here. Don't forget that we have our Pub Sports Radio bracket contest on our site, $50 American entry fee, and we will be talking about it nonstop. So don't forget, on our website, you can lock in your spot in our bracket contest. Let's move on. Next up for us, 6:30 p.m. Eastern, Big Ten tournament quarterfinal. Penn State 20-12, 10-10 in conference versus Northwestern 21-10, 12-8 in conference. We head back to the United Center for this one. Let's take a look at the line history here for this. Now, I came very close to moving on Northwestern. Very, very close. There was just another 1-point move towards them at Pinnacle. Pinnacle opened them at -1, but Pinnacle didn't open up this line till 6:43 this morning. This was a plus line at some books. Let's move over to one of those books, BetOnline. BetOnline opened Northwestern at +1, and now Northwestern is -1.5. That's nice. I like seeing that. It makes me want to move on Northwestern. Totals wise, this opened up at 131.5. It's dropped a point down to 130.5. Let's move over to the cash flow here for this one. 56% of the tickets and 66% of the cash is on Northwestern. This was not the case as of 4 hours ago. It certainly wasn't the case last night. So I believe that people are seeing now, it's now 58 and 66. It just updated. People are seeing this market move towards Northwestern and believing in it. And I think that I am now going to do the same. Totals wise, 61% of the tickets and 71% of the cash is on the over, yet it's dropped a point. Penn State opened up their tournament with their 6th win in 7 games, 79-76 over Illinois yesterday's 3-point dogs. Northwestern snapped their 3-game losing streak on Sunday with an impressive 65-53 win at Rutgers, and we see what Rutgers is doing right now. The game prior to that, Northwestern lost 68-65 in overtime at home to Penn State as 4.5-point favorites. That was their lone meeting with Penn State. So now, after waiting this long, I did radio this morning earlier, and this was not there at this level. Now everything correlates for Northwestern, and I'm going to move on Northwestern. Take it away for us, Bobano. Big Ten tournament quarters, Penn State, Northwestern.
Yeah, I mean, Northwestern is a team that I've had some success with down the stretch. They've been excellent. ATS 7-2 in their last 9 games. They finished strong with a road win at Rutgers to end the season. I'm going to probably join you here on Northwestern. I'm leaning Northwestern this whole way, but I'm going to go money line here with this one instead. Just shop around here for the best price that I can find right now. I'm just going to take a look here. Money line -1. Looks like -120. Oh, good. We got a -120 at FanDuel. Perfect. I was thinking we wouldn't get that low, but there we go. Perfect. That's good enough. Yep. Northwestern -120. Rest advantage. And I like the angle of they lost to Penn State at home, 68-65, March 1st. Second to last game of the regular season. Tough loss for them. I think that stokes the fires of, hey, let's get this team back. I think they're the better team anyway. Northwestern. But to Penn State's credit, I actually was on Penn State, so I'm trying to bite the hand that fed me yesterday because I took Penn State against Illinois yesterday. But I thought Penn State was +2 in that game. They found a way to win. I didn't trust Illinois in that matchup. Now Penn State coming back. To me, they're laying, they're around the same number here, 1.5, 2 against the Northwestern team that I think you can argue has been even better than Illinois down the stretch. So now I'm jumping ship. I like the Wildcats. I like Chris Collins' squad. I like the way certainly that they have been able to defend down the stretch. I like the way that their offense has been led by the likes of Boo Buie. He's been absolutely tremendous for this team. Nicholson, Barry have been strong as well offensively, but it's Boo Buie is just the guy that carries it for Northwestern. A great player. I think they find a way here. I'll go money line here. Northwestern -120.
And I will be joining you on Northwestern. Perfect. Let's keep rolling. Next up for us, the 7 p.m. Eastern start of the ACC tournament semis. The number 21 ranked Duke Blue Devils, 24-8, 14-6 in conference, versus number 14th ranked Miami Hurricanes, 25-6, 15-5 in conference. We're at Greensboro Coliseum for this one. We'll start with the line history here. This is the only bet that I made before this show started, and I moved on the Duke Blue Devils. They opened up at Pinnacle at -1.5, got up to -2.5, which is where they are right now. When they first got to 2.5, it dropped back to 2 and went to 2.5. Go over to Bet Online here. At Bet Online, this opened up with Duke -1, and they got up to -3 at 1. They got up to -3.5 last night at 7:40 p.m. They got back down to 2.5. Then they were back at 3 at 1:30 in the morning. They're sitting at 2.5 right now. When I wanted to bet this, Bet365 had this at -3, and I saw the other books at 2.5, and so I just waited. I waited till I got to 2.5, and I moved on the 2.5. Let's get over to the cash flow here for this one. 56% of the tickets and 68% of the cash is on Duke. Just updated with 16,000 tickets in. 57% of the tickets and 70% of the cash is on Duke. And the market's moved towards them. So everything correlating for me in that regard. And it continues as we'll talk about it here. For me, Duke is peaking at the right time. No one is playing better than them. They opened up their tourney by destroying a good Pittsburgh team yesterday, 96-69 for their 7th straight win. They were 5-point favorites. The only thing that's a little uncomforting is how good they looked. That's the only thing. That's the only thing. They shot 62.1% from the field. I don't expect them to shoot like that here. That is the only kind of detriment where everything else is lining up, because they also seek revenge. They beat Miami 68-66 at home back on January 21st. Then they were destroyed 81-59 in Miami on January 21st. You could say that was the low point of the season for Duke. Miami's won 9 of their last 10, but their last 3 games have been underwhelming. They lost at home to Florida State 85-84. Then they needed to beat Pittsburgh at home as 8-point favorites on seniors night during the number 1 seed in the tournament, and they just barely got that done, 78-76. They opened up their tournament yesterday by just barely getting past Wake Forest 74-72 as 7.5-point favorites. I know a lot of people love this Hurricanes team. I'm on Duke here, and if they take care of business here, I'll be very interested in backing them pretty heavy come tourney time. Take it away for us, Bobano. Duke, Miami.
Yeah. So I took Pitt yesterday, and I said, no, I'm not stepping in front of Duke again. I mean, they've clearly found it. And I took them because I love Pitt so much, and Pitt was so good to me this year, and they were getting a nice number. And that's why I was on Pitt. It was not so much that I was anti-Duke. It was more I was pro-Pitt. Pitt's been just filling my pocket all year. But they got just destroyed by Duke. And that is a continuation of Duke, as you mentioned, peaking at the right time here in March. 9-1 in their last 10 games for the Duke. 8-2, I should say. And a 7-game win streak coming into this game. The win against North Carolina, NC State, Virginia Tech. Pitt in their last game. Now, the one thing you could quibble about is what's their best win in that stretch? NC State, they haven't beaten the real upper teams in the ACC like a Miami or a Virginia, or teams like that. So this will be a test here against Miami. But with the fact that they got absolutely embarrassed by Miami in the most recent meeting down in Coral Gables, 81-59. Most recently, I'm sure that resonates for Duke. Like I say, they're playing well. Roach outstanding. Filipowski, there was some concern he got banged up yesterday, but he continued along and he finished that game and he played well for Duke. So I think there's no concern there with his injury. And you're right. It's just, look, the chemistry's coming together. Let's not forget, John Shire's in his first year as head coach. Maybe it took him time, to get his feet wet and, get comfortable in the head coaching role. Now it's just all coming together for Duke. But I really love Jimmy Larinaga's group. I love this team. They're a dog. I don't love betting against them when they're a dog like they are here. But I don't want to step in front of Duke again. I'm done doing that after yesterday. So I'm off the side. I do like this over, though, 144.5 at Heritage. I think the total is just a little bit light. They're firing away right now offensively. What do they put up, 90 in that game? I think they can have success against Miami. Miami's not exactly been consistent at the defensive end down the stretch. So that's what I'm going to look at here. The total, not the side. We'll go over 144.5, minus 110 at Bet365. No, actually, sorry. Over 144, minus 115 at Pinnacle. Let's go with that instead.
Over 144 at minus 115. I'm on the full game, minus 2.5 on the Duke Blue Devils. Unfortunately, I'm going up against some very strong competition here. Jay Peasy on Miami U, Shogun Soup on Miami, but I'm on Duke, and I love everything about this spot other than they shot 62.1% from the field. That's the only kind of, I'd prefer it was just sort of an even keel game rather than just dominance. We move on. Next up for us, still 7 p.m. Eastern action. BJ making big bets on two spots that I'm on. That makes me very pleased. Mally Mal also with me on Duke. Nate Dog 420 in the house. Great to see you. Arkansas Razorbacks 20-12, 8-10 in the conference versus number 18 Texas A&M Aggies 23-8, 15-3 in the conference. Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee. Obviously, the market screamed at us that Arkansas was a play yesterday. I don't know why, just because of the giant 4-point move from dog to favorite, why I still didn't just back them first half. I was angry watching them easily cover the first half, 37-33. I just left money on the table. The market, there's not been a stronger market move in my estimation in all of conference play this week than what happened with Arkansas yesterday against Auburn. Now, 76-73 is what they won. So if you got it at the very end, you pushed. And so we didn't, get it at the end. With that all being said, let's break this down. I didn't move on it. I felt like it moved too hard, but that first half upset me. I should have done that. Here we have the opposite happening. Market has moved slightly towards the Aggies. Not at Pinnacle, though. At Pinnacle, they've kept this line real strong. Opened Arkansas +1 minus 108. Now it's +1 minus 115. Let's go over to Bet Online and see how they're handling this. Bet Online has opened this up at a pick'em, and this got to -2. So there was immediate action on Texas A&M when Bet Online was first to the market with limits. Opened this up at 10:35 p.m. last night. Within 13 minutes, this had gone from a pick'em to -2. Not only that, but that -2 is juiced to -115. So clear early, which we kind of we have faith in it being sharp money if they're waiting for the line to be dropped and hammering it. Moved on Texas A&M, which made me want Texas A&M. But by 7:30 this morning, this was back to a pick'em. At 10:18 a.m., this became at 1 point moved back to Texas A&M. So there is some interesting market moves here that need to be deciphered. This total opened up at 138. The first move was to the under, then it moved to the over, and it's back at 137.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have, let me move over here. So we have 46% of the tickets and 86% of the cash on Arkansas. I mean, that's wild. All this money, all the big bets. We're talking about 15,769 tickets in is on Arkansas. That's pretty wild to me that there was that initial move to Texas A&M that still is sort of in Texas A&M as the favorite. This total opened up, so we talked about the opening, 36% of tickets and 62% of cash is on the over. So we do have big bets placed on this over. Rocco Rogers saying, I'm seeing the world of capping on Arkansas for big plays right now. Curious about this breakdown. Well, I tell you what, this is Texas A&M or no bet for me. It might end up being no bet. Texas A&M were last seen on Saturday, winning their second straight game in impressive fashion, defeating Alabama at the house 67-61. Texas A&M lost 81-70 at Arkansas January 31st before exacting revenge at home 62-56 on Saturday, February 11th. Take it away for us here, Bobano. What an interesting game. SEC quarters. The Pigs against the Aggies.
Yeah, I've got futures on both of these teams to win the SEC tournament. So I'm honestly I'm passing on this game. I'm sitting back and just watching. I think two very good teams. I think it's the line's right where it should be. Even with Arkansas playing yesterday, I think it's right where it should be, right around this pick'em range. A&M slight favorite. I totally agree with that. The total could go either way because one game went under, one game went over this season between the two teams. Series history-wise, it's trended over. And Texas A&M has kind of trended over lately, but be careful with that with A&M with their games. Actually, they've trended under, but be careful with even the two games that went over were 131 total points in both games, which would stay under this total. So very fascinating game. I think what this boils down to here for, Texas A&M is that their 3-point defense is pretty good. 86th in the country. Overall field goal percentage defense is strong, which matters when you're playing this high-powered Arkansas team. And you can call them high-powered now. Now that they're healthier, they're getting back to being that very, very good offensive team that Eric Musselman's group is capable of now that they've gotten everyone back as of late. So I think it's a really good game. Great offensive team. A&M's great defense. Buzz Williams has done a phenomenal job with them. I'm just going to sit back and watch and enjoy what I think is going to be a terrific game.
After watching Arkansas in the SEC this year, are you surprised that this team that was under 500 would open up as a pick'em against an Aggies team that was 15-3 in conference? Why are you not?
No, because they've underachieved a lot. They had injuries. They had some multiple key injuries midway through the conference season. They've gotten them back. Nick Smith coming back is the huge one, the huge addition for this Razorbacks team. He's made addition. He's good at both ends of the floor, but especially needing his offense back, and that's big reason why they've scored a lot more points lately. They're just a much better team, and we've seen this with Arkansas. Not so much to this extent because they've had some good seasons before, better seasons, but then they get red hot down the stretch. This year they had obviously a mediocre season, and now they're getting red hot again. And this is what his teams do. That's why Eric Musselman's a pretty damn good coach. His teams play well late February into March, and we're seeing it again.
I feel like I'm trying to be too cute. Cute's not
this
the right.
This is simple for me. These are two teams I'd rather bet on than bet against. So
yeah, I feel like I'm trying too hard almost to just with my feeling that the markets are opening up their arms to Arkansas Razorback money. But still, a lot of cappers will see their, conference record. And it feels like one of those spots that we have in college football when, you have a ranked team playing against an unranked team with a poor record and the line doesn't make sense and that unranked team, takes care of business. Usually those are spots where the unranked team is at home. And of course, this is in Nashville, which is neutral here. I guess I stay off. I guess I'm going to put Texas A&M. I think I'm going to have enough action where I don't need to push it, but I certainly have interest in Texas A&M. Let's move on to another huge game, the Big 12 semifinal. Iowa State Cyclones, 19-12, 9-9 in conference versus number 3 ranked Kansas Jayhawks, 26-6, 13-5 in conference. We're at T-Mobile Center in Kansas City for this. We'll let Dabby Cab lead us into this. He says Iowa State isn't going to bully Kansas like they did Baylor. The back-to-back wins over Baylor have people confused about who Iowa State is. They just match up against Baylor perfectly. That was from Dabby Cab. There is our guy, Swiss Horton, in the house. Great to see you, Swiss. Let's take a look at the line history here for the Big 12 championship. We have Kansas opening up here at Penny at -4.5. They are now -5. A half-point move towards Kansas. Bet Online. See, they were first to the market. They opened up at 4.5. They moved it to 5. 37 minutes after they opened it. And then 24 minutes after that, back to 4.5, which it stayed at 4.5. Let's take a look at the total. Opening up at 130. It went up to 130.5, down to 129.5. It's right there where it opened at 130. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one here. Oops, gone too far. Here we go. You have 60% of the tickets and 59% of the cash over on Kansas here. Apparently the Dallas Card Show is going remarkably well right now. Might be some changes coming sooner than later. Get to Pubapalooza to find out more on the future. Thank you for that, Preston. Then total-wise, the total has 69% tickets on the over and 95% of the cash. There's over 20,000 tickets in for this game. That's a huge amount of cash on the over for the market not to be moving. I think we start with Bill Self. The doctor has reported that he did not suffer a heart attack, as reported by some in the media. He arrived at the emergency department last night, underwent a standard procedure that went well, expected to make a full recovery. So that is from them here. Iowa State opened up their conference tournament by defeating Baylor for a third time this year, 78-72 as 4.5-point dogs. Kansas got their tournament started with a 78-61 beatdown of West Virginia yesterday. They won at home over Iowa State on Saturday, January 4th. 62-60 before losing to them on the road Saturday, February 4th, 68-53. We all wondered how Kansas was going to handle their coach not being there because, it can drive you. That's a win-1 for coach here. Problem is these are defending national champions, and we knew it would kind of buoy them in their game 1. My actual thought is it's not going to do that again here. That's my thought, and I could easily be wrong. Let's hear what Bobano has to say about this one. Iowa State Cyclones, Kansas Jayhawks.
Yeah, this is a team that's given Kansas problems this year. Iowa State nearly beat them at Fog Allen, 62-60, and we know they dummied them up at Hilton Coliseum, destroyed Kansas, wire to wire. They were up by double digits. So to me, this is Iowa State or pass. And I know Kansas showed me a lot yesterday, and West Virginia shot the ball terribly. And look, when West Virginia has a game like that shooting, they're not going to win. And look, Iowa State had issues shooting the basketball during their late season swoon. But, man, did they get their offense together yesterday. 78 points against Baylor, and that's on the heels of beating Baylor before that as well, back-to-back. All of a sudden, players that have been struggling a little bit have come to life. Jaron Holmes was 17 points, the St. Bonnie transfer. Taman Lipsey, 13 points. Gabe Kalsher, we've been waiting for him to get shooting the way he's capable of, and he scores 24 points yesterday for Iowa State. So, that's a positive sign for them going into this game. So, Kansas, you're right. The emotion maybe, seeing all of a sudden their coach not there, the medical scare that he had. Now, what do you get today? Is there, are they running on fumes a little bit? You're right, because I think there was that extra, incentive to dig down, win with the interim coach there while Bill Self was recovering. So, and to me, they've just had so much difficulty with Iowa State this year that, I wouldn't be laying 4.5. It's Cyclones or pass for me.
What do you think about this total? Are you surprised to hear how much money is on the over and it not moving towards the over?
High volatility total. When Iowa State shoots like they did yesterday, obviously their totals are going to be too low. But Kansas is trending under. Kansas is capable defensively, and is Iowa State going to shoot that well again? So I understand why there's some hesitancy with the over in this game. It's a low number, but I understand the hesitancy, and I have no opinion on the total. I think I'm totally neutral on it. I think it's could go one way or the other, and a lot of volatility to it.
All right. So we know that Dabby Cab is on Kansas first half -2.5. We talked, he's already on Purdue first half -3.5. They're making a run here late in the first half. UConn first half -1.5. Miami first half +1.5. And he is double dipped on Memphis. He's also on Utah State first half. Rod Zawacki liking the under. I certainly, with the market set up with 95% of cash on the over and not moving, I would only look towards the under. Noli Nose says combined scores first two meetings 122 and 121. So it looks like Noli leaning towards this under as well. All right, let's keep rolling. That was the Big 12 championship. A no move for.
I'm just going to take a
either
look
of us.
because I think I might go official here with Iowa State. I just want to see what the current price is here. I'm just trying to look around here. Just give me a sec, and then we'll maybe lock this. Yeah, PointsBet's got +5 -110. I'm taking that. Make that official. Iowa State +5 -110 at PointsBet.
All right, Bobano has moved on Iowa State +5 at -110. He's locked in. So that concludes our 7 p.m. games. So we had 6 early games. We had 5 7 p.m. games. Now we go to the late slate of games. These all start 9 p.m. or later. Let's get to work. First up, the Pac-12 tournament semifinal. Oregon Ducks 19-13, 12-8 in conference versus the number 2 ranked UCLA Bruins 28-4, 18-2 in conference. We're at T-Mobile in Vegas for this one. We'll start with the line history here for this Pac matchup that opens up at 9. Here we go. 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. This opened up with UCLA -5. They got up to 6 pretty quickly in about 45 minutes, but they are at 5.5 right now. So a half-point move over at Pinnacle. Let's see what BetOnline did. BetOnline opened this up here -5. It got up to 6.5. We're now at 5.5. Those of you who are interested in opening up a new account, if you open up a new account at BetOnline and put in Pub Sports as your code, they will match you up to $1,000. 100% match up to $1,000 at BetOnline. Move over to the total here. This total opened up at 134. It's now dropped a half point to 133.5. Go over to the cash flow on this one, starting off at 9 p.m. You have 40% of the tickets and 71% of the cash on Oregon. Market's not moving towards Oregon. It's slightly towards UCLA. Then total-wise, 98% of the tickets and 98% of the cash on this over. That has dropped a half point. So I don't know. Hard to get confidence off of the market there. Oregon opened up their tournament with their 4th straight win, 75-70 over Washington State yesterday. UCLA has handled the news of Jalen Clark being out for the rest of the year with the Achilles injury with the plum. They won their first game without him, defeating Colorado 80-69 for their 11th straight win. They won at Oregon 65-56 before defeating them again they won at home over Oregon 65-56 before defeating them again 70-63 at Oregon on February 11th. We head to Vegas for this one. Bobano, Pac-12 semis, Oregon, UCLA, take it away.
They did. I was impressed with the resolve of UCLA, but let's also be honest. Colorado's not great. Colorado had them right there right there. That game was there to be won for Colorado, and then they pissed it away with turnovers and breakdowns on defensively. And you can't do that against a team that's pretty good in their own right, UCLA. Although I do worry about this team, at the defensive end a little bit being worse without Clark. And that game ended up obviously with the UCLA going over the total. So it's funny. The side and the total I like in this game are the ones where the money seems to be on it, but it's not budging. But I still have to stick to it here. And at this time of year, this is Dana Altman time of year. How many times has Oregon made a run in the Pac-12 tournament? I mean, it seems to happen so often. And you look at UCLA, okay, Jalen Clark, huge linchpin defensively for them, and they beat Colorado without him. Let's see them beat Oregon without him. This is going to be a task here for UCLA in this game. An Oregon team that actually battled Oregon battled UCLA pretty tough. They lost by 9. They lost by 7 earlier this season. And we're seeing the same thing again as we always see from Oregon. Struggle, can't get things together, and then they start putting it together late in the season and into March. They've won 4 in a row. Oregon coming into this game. So I like Oregon plus 5.5, minus 110 at Bet365. And I also think there's value over the total with UCLA games without Jalen Clark. They're a much worse defensive team without him. I know they shut down Colorado down the stretch, but Colorado was getting anything they wanted offensively for well into the second half before finally, the shots stopped falling. And let's not forget Colorado on the back-to-back. I think that was part of it too. I like the over as well in this game at a low number, a modest number. So Oregon plus 5.5 minus 110 and over 133.5 minus 112 at Proline Plus.
You are locked in. If I saw a sign from the books, I'd be right with you on Oregon. I still completely get the look. And also on the over 133.5 for Bobano. BJ says Oregon does not have enough to compete for 40 minutes, says UCLA for nothing, but he's not moving on it. Abel A is going to be at the game. He's on UCLA minus 5.
Man, so enjoy it. You should be anyone in Las Vegas should be at these games. The tickets are cheap as fuck. I mean, you should be there. Take advantage, yeah.
At this point, Billy Friedrich Mrazek's being better over the last.
Yeah, it might be Mrazek in net. I think it's starting to look like it's him. Yeah,
I had capped it with Mrazek in net, so I'm very comfortable here. We'll see if the market moves back, but here we'll stay moving here. I'm very interested in this game. Very, very, very interested for our moves as we move forward in March Madness. The UCLA going to be tested here. Bobano on Oregon plus 5.5 and the over 133.5. We stay with 9 p.m. Eastern. We head back east to Madison Square Garden in New York. The number 24 ranked Creighton Blue Jays 21-11, 14-6 in the Big East. First X gonna give it to you. Xavier ranked 15th in the nation, 24-8, 15-5 in the Big East. And we have our looks from razor sharp picks. Kansas under 130, Missouri plus 6, and Penn State under 130.5 for razor sharp picks. I will copy and paste all of that. But the gamblers' first glance is on Kansas under. Kansas under for the gamblers' first glance. And shout out to our guy, Razor Sharp Picks in the house. And he's locked in. All right, we roll on here to Creighton Xavier. We'll start with the line history here in this one. We have, move over here, a move towards Creighton today, and I'm very interested in that move. Not at Pinnacle. Pinnacle opened this up, Creighton minus 3.5. Since it opened, there's been a 2-cent move towards Creighton. They opened this up at 6:47 this morning. BetOnline, though, brought this out earlier. So let's see what BetOnline is doing here. BetOnline opened this up at 3:06 in the morning, and Creighton was 2.5-point favorites. That didn't last a minute. Not 1 minute before they moved it to 3.5. Go over to the totals here. Opened up at 155. We're down to 153, a 2-point drop. BJ is on Creighton for his $500 bet. Let's move on to this cash flow for this one. Sorry, it's going to take me a second. Here we go. We have 67% of the tickets and 68% of the cash on Creighton. Would love to see it move now. I would love to see some concern from the books now. 72% of the tickets and 94% of cash on the under. We've seen the markets adjust. Creighton opened up their tournament with their 4th straight victory, 87-74 over Villanova yesterday as 4.5-point favorites. We watched Nova's game improve as the season went on. That was an impressive victory. Xavier opened up their tournament with their 4th straight win, a tighter than expected 89-84 victory over DePaul as 12.5-point favorites. They defeated Xavier 90-87 at home before losing badly to them on the road, 84-67 on January 28th. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Creighton, Xavier.
I just found my solution to the UConn problem earlier. I said I don't know if I was comfortable laying 3.5, 4, and I kind of feel the same way about Creighton. We're locking in a 2-team money line parlay. I hate doing this. It feels always like such a square thing to do, but and I don't do them often, but it makes sense. And I'll do them more often in the conference tournaments just because of where the numbers lie. So I'm going to go with a 2-team money line parlay here, Creighton and UConn in the Big East, plus 148 at Pinnacle. So there you go, 2-team money line parlay, Creighton and UConn plus 148. I think Creighton wins. They're a better team than Xavier, better defensively. I don't trust Xavier here on a back-to-back. Creighton, I think, is just the better, superior team. I love the way they got Nemhard, they've got Kalkbrenner, they've got inside-outside balance. They rebound well, they defend well. I absolutely think Creighton wins this game. I don't have to worry now about laying points. And now the same thing with UConn, putting them in a parlay with Creighton too. I don't have to worry about laying points. Win the game. I think both of them do. So UConn, Creighton, money line parlay there.
You got it. Do you agree with this market move towards the under?
Xavier's a tough team sometimes to bet under, especially after what I saw with DePaul yesterday. They just defensively, it comes in. This is the game I'm more likely to bet over of the two games. It would be this one here, Creighton and Xavier. But it's over. It's a high number. It's 153. Creighton is, can be pretty good defensively. So I'm off the total, but I lean over.
I'm interested in adding Creighton to my action here. I'm close to adding Creighton to my action. Close. Let's move on to 9 p.m. Eastern action over at the United Center in Chicago, Illinois. Big Ten tournament quarterfinal. Maryland 21-11, 11-9 in conference versus the number 19th ranked Indiana Hoosiers 21-10, 12-8 in conference. Start with the line history here for this one. We have a legit move towards Indiana. Indiana opened at Pinnacle at -1. They're now -2, and that's juiced. Over at Bet Online, this opened up as a pick'em. It's now at -2 as well. Totals-wise, this opened up at 137. It's dropped 2 points to 135. Let's get into the cash flow for this one. We have 78% of the tickets, 76% of the cash on Indiana, and the market has moved towards them. There were a couple offshores that opened this up with Indiana at +1. Sammy Culmer got Indiana this morning at -114. Johnny Gunn says, I love this under today. Total-wise, the bigger bets have come in on the over. What's that line done again? So this has gone from 137, dropped down to 135, 2-point drop, but the bigger bets have come in on the over, which is a bit of surprise looking at the market. We have 41% of the tickets, 52% of the cash. So it's kind of middling, 41 and 52 on that over. Maryland opened up their tournament by snapping their 2-game losing streak, 70-54, over a weak Minnesota squad as 13-point favorites. Indiana comes into the tourney off their second win in 3 games, 75-73 at home over Michigan on Sunday. Indiana only faced Maryland once this year, losing to them 66-55 on the road back on January 31st. Take it away here, Bobano. Maryland, Indiana.
Yeah, this is a good game here with these two teams. Maryland, give them credit. They got the job done against Minnesota, but they're taking a huge step up in class here, obviously, today against the Hoosiers. I think probably for them it's going to be a little bit difficult to contain that here going into this game. I definitely think the Indiana Hoosiers get it done. I'm happy to take them here at a money line price minus. Let me just see what it is here in this -1. All right, here we go. -130. It looks like the best price here at win with the money line here with India. Yeah, I just think you look at it. Obviously, they've got, in my opinion, the best player on the court, Trace Jackson Davis, had an outstanding senior year for this Hoosiers team. They've done a nice job in terms of getting production inside, outside scoring. Their 3-point shooting's improved. I like the way they've been able to defend here throughout the season, including of late. And Maryland still, I've got those little worries about them away from home. I know they took apart Minnesota yesterday, but overall for the season, this hasn't been a team that's traveled well. So we'll go with Indiana here. Actually, a better price at FanDuel, -128. There we go. So Indiana, -128 at FanDuel.
I like that look. And I think that I think I'm going to be joining you here on Indiana. I expect to join you on Indiana. So let me just put that here. It has moved towards Indiana. I like that sign from the books. Let's keep rolling. Shout out to you, AYOD. Bobano has moved on Indiana money line, and I'm very interested in them and adding them to my card. We head over back to Bridgestone in Nashville. SEC tournament quarters. Vanderbilt 19-13, 11-7 in conference. Versus number 23 ranked Kentucky 21-10, 12-6 in conference. First off, line history wise, we have Kentucky opening up at -7 at Pinnacle. They're now -9. A huge move towards Kentucky at 9:36 this morning. Go over to BetOnline. BetOnline opened this up at -7. They're at -8.5. They moved at 9:40 as well. Total wise, this opened up at 144.5, which is where it stands right now. Let's go over to the cash flow here for this one. Over here. It's a tight market spot. Surprised by the big move towards Kentucky. They must respect the bets that are coming in on them because only 52% of the tickets and 54% of the cash is on Kentucky. 57% of the tickets and 78% of the cash is on the under. And we have seen that total not move since it opened. A 5-cent move to the under, but staying at the number. Take it away, Bobano. SEC quarters, Vandy, Kentucky.
Yeah, Vandy, Kentucky is not a pass for me. I don't trust Kentucky enough to want to lay points with them. They should want to win this game. They should want to beat Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt beat them in Kentucky down the stretch. Vanderbilt, though, I tell you what, Jerry Stackhouse done a quietly nice job with this group down the stretch. I like the way they've played, the Commodores here as of late. They've won 4 straight. They've covered 4 straight, beating Florida, Kentucky, Mississippi State, LSU down the stretch. Now, again, they're going to get Kentucky this time around. Obviously not thrilled with the fact that they ended up losing at home against Vanderbilt back on March the 1st, 9 days ago. And usually I like those kind of angles in conference tournament. A recent loss to a team usually has you ready to go. But this has been a tough matchup for Kentucky. Vandy's covered 3 of the last 4 meetings between them. And spot aside, I ain't laying this many with Kentucky. So pass for me.
Yeah, they become a tough team to trust. What do you think of this total right now? 78% of the cash on the under, but it's not moving.
That one, I think when you look at the total here, Kentucky, they've actually gone back and forth with they've actually trended more over here, 7-3 the last 10. Vandy's gone over in 4 of the last 5. But the last meeting was 68-66, did stay under. And stayed way under this number. I just feel the total might be a little bit high in this case. Even though there's been some overs trending teams, both of them, the last meeting didn't come close to 144.5. So I'd probably ease off the total. Lean under.
All right. No action for us in Vandy, Kentucky. Let's move back to Kansas City, Missouri, to the T-Mobile Center for the Big 12 Championship semis. Number 22 ranked TCU Horned Frogs getting it done last night, 21-11, 9-9 in conference versus the number 7 ranked Texas Longhorns. Start with the line history here for this one. This one opened up with Texas at -2.5, -108 at Pinnacle, 6:45 this morning. There's been a 2-cent move to TCU. Let's compare that to BetOnline. BetOnline opened this up at -2 at -110. At 8:49 this morning, they moved it to -2.5 for Texas. Go over to the total. Opened up at 147. It's dropped a half point to 146.5. Let's take a look at the cash flow for this one. You have 57% of the tickets and 73% of the cash on TCU. And we've seen BetOnline move slightly towards Texas. Then you have 56% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the under, and just a half-point move on that under. Rocco Rogers says TCU double up was beautiful yesterday. I'm liking them here as well. That's from Rocco Rogers. TCU opened up their conference tournament with an 80-67 victory victory over Kansas State yesterday as 1.5-point favorites. Texas opened up their tournament with their second straight win, not at the tournament, but 2 wins in a row. 61-47, they opened up their tournament yesterday over Oklahoma State as 7.5-point favorites. They just lost 75-73 at TCU on March 1st. They defeated TCU at home 79-75 back on January 11th. Very, very close games between these two rivals. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Big 12 championship semifinal, TCU, Texas.
Yeah, really good game. This should be TCU. And I was impressed with TCU yesterday against Kansas State. just took control, rolled over them in the second half, 80-67. Very impressive win for them, especially considering that they were without their big man, Eddie Lampkin, the center, who didn't play in that game, took away from their front court prowess a little bit. Still got the job done. Played TCU. Both of these teams have been in tight games. 4-point win for Texas in January at home. TCU returned the favor with a 2-point home win, 75-73 in the most recent game. We see TCU here, 2.5-point dog. Kind of lean with TCU here, plus 2.5 in this one. I haven't made it official yet. Texas back-to-back wins to wrap up the Big 12 regular season against Kansas and Oklahoma State. Before that, they had the loss at TCU. And because, though, that they're the most recent team to lose in this head-to-head series, and it was a recent loss as well, I'm not willing to actually make it official with TCU because I think Texas certainly and actually, if you grade out the personnel here, I think if you look at Texas here, they've still got a very, very good – they got a team built for tournament settings, conference tournament, NCAA tournament, lots of experience. Marcus Carr has been in college basketball forever. Serge Bari Rice, they've got Bishop. They've got definitely players that have been very, very experienced on this basketball team to go through the tournament settings such as this. So it's a really good game. It's a tough game. I have the slightest of leans to TCU, but nothing official.
I'm close to moving on Texas here. I'm close to moving on Texas here. I feel like you said, that the tournament setting, that when push comes to shove, this team will show that they're just a little bit better. They're just a little bit better. I know Oklahoma State's not a good basketball team, but they just completely suffocated that basketball squad. Maybe people are taking too much over that victory for TCU yesterday against a tough Kansas State squad. Rocco Rogers says Texas experience is what pauses me to move yet. Sweaty Butcher is on Bama first half -4.5. Lee Davis is on Texas. Lee Davis knows these teams well. Lee Davis in Lubbock, Texas. That's his hometown. I'm moving on Texas here. This one's going to be tight. It's going to be a tight game, but I'm going to move on Texas. Let's move on to 9:30 p.m. Eastern. Head back to Greensboro for the ACC tournament semifinal. Clemson 23-9, 14-6 in conference versus the number 13th ranked Virginia squad that got me the cash. Cavaliers got me paid and cashed the under for me last night. And when push came to shove and stops need to be made, they delivered those stops. 24-6, 15-5 in conference. Let's move over to the line history here for this one. We have a slight move towards Clemson. This opened up here at Pinnacle with a legit move to Clemson. Clemson opened up at 6:41 a.m. at +4. They're now at +3. Let's go over to BetOnline and see how they handle this. BetOnline opened this up at +3.5 for Clemson. Clemson did get up to +4 at 3:18 a.m., but they're now +3. So both books have moved slightly towards Clemson. Totals wise, it's opened up at 128.5 and has dropped 3 points down to 125.5. See what Johnny Guns has to say. He says, I think there's a lot of recency bias with Clemson. I don't think they're as good as they look right now. Virginia finds a way to get it done, and they can overwhelm opponents. So we have a slight move, or I'd say a move towards Clemson. And the big bets are on Clemson. 58% of the tickets and 84% of the cash. As much as I like Virginia and want to use them in tourney action next week, I won't be backing them here. 26% of the tickets and 72% of cash on the under. Clearly, that's sharp money. But at this point, with such a low total, it's moved too far for me to move on it now. Billy Friedrich says Tony Bennett played in college with Vanderbilt's father, Dean. Clemson opened up their tournament with their second straight victory. Look, it was incredible. We all saw it. 80-54 home, or 80-54. I don't know why I wrote that again. 80-54 over NC State, yesterday's 2-point favorites. Virginia opened up their tourney with their third straight win. 68-59 over North Carolina as 2.5-point favorites. They opened this 3-game run with a 64-57 win over Clemson at home on February 28th. That was their lone meeting this year. So I guess there's big bets on Clemson. Market's moving towards Clemson. Clemson has Rebenga. I guess things are lining up towards Clemson other than my bias with cashing on Virginia yesterday. Take it away, Bobano. Clemson, Virginia in the ACC semi.
Yeah, I like Clemson, +3.5, -115. I used them as a best bet, and I lost by, I think, a point. They were +6 at Virginia. They lost by 7. It was one of those games they didn't even play close to their best and still were right there and had a chance to maybe get back into that game. I think in this game, Clemson, I like the fact they just lost to Virginia. They're probably in the tournament, but man, if they were to beat Virginia here, you can lock that shit up that they're in the tournament. If they win tonight against Virginia, they're 100% in if they win tonight. And look, I think they probably are a little bit better foil for Virginia than North Carolina. Virginia still has an issue defending threes at times, okay? Perimeter shots can be made against Virginia. That's still where that pack line defense can suffer. And when you look at this matchup here against Clemson, they've got Hunter Tyson shooting the ball pretty well right now. If you look at it too, PJ Hall, someone that could really, really create some offense from deep, from beyond the arc. Tyson shoots a very good percentage from 3-point range. And I think that's an area where Virginia can be a little bit susceptible and a little bit vulnerable. You factor in the revenge. You factor in the fact that Clemson could really punch their ticket for sure. I mean, they could maybe go from first 4 in to maybe even getting off the first 4 in line if they beat Virginia tonight. I think that's motivation enough to win this game. And you got them as a dog catching points. Yeah, I'm on Clemson here. Clemson +3.5, -115 at BetMGM.
You are locked in. Everything correlates here for Clemson. I have to get over Virginia making money for me yesterday and move with you on Clemson, and I will be doing that. I'm adding Clemson to my action. Let's move on to the final game here on the card. 11:30 p.m. Eastern. The final game for us. The Pac-12 tournament semi. This is going to be fun. Arizona State, 22-11, 11-9 in conference versus number 8 ranked Arizona, 26-6, 14-6 in the Pac-12. Let's go over to the line history here. We're going into NBA with DutchBoyFresh. 6 games on the card right after this one. We have a slight move towards Arizona State. Arizona State opening up at +8. It actually got down to +7 an hour ago. It's back at +7.5 right now at Pinnacle. Let's see what BetOnline did with this. BetOnline opened this up at +8 for Arizona State. It never got to 7 at BetOnline. It's at 7.5 right now, but it's juiced to -115. Let's move over to the total here. This total opened up at 156. It's dropped to 154. And then let's bring up the cash flow for this late night action for us here. We have 40% of the tickets and 84% of the cash on Arizona State. Big bets coming in on Arizona State. That appeals to me. Sorry. Move back to this. Sorry. Totals wise. Sorry, I pressed the wrong button. Let's get over there quickly here. Totals wise on this one, we have 57% of the tickets and 97% of the cash on the under, and it has dropped a couple points. Arizona State opened their tournament with a 77-72 win at USC yesterday as 5-point dogs. It was impressive. Very impressive start. Arizona opened their tournament with a 95-84 victory over Stanford. We all remember the half-court heave for Arizona State that got them the win at Arizona. Arizona State were 13-point dogs, won outright with that heave. They had lost at home to Arizona back on December 31st, 69-60. Take it away for us here. Pac-12 tournament semifinal, Arizona State, Arizona. Bobano.
Yeah, Arizona State, 2 meetings this year. They lost by 9 in the first. And then, of course, they had that incredible comeback in the second meeting in Tucson. And let's be honest, they were down pretty sizably at one point, and then they just made that frantic rally and came back and won. This is another one where Arizona State probably punched the dance ticket last night with the win against USC. I think they're in. Maybe they shouldn't take the rest on their laurels. They should come out here, want to beat If they beat Arizona a second time tonight, clearly they're in. But I think they've already probably done enough. Those Cambridge brothers, they're great players, no doubt. Washington, a really good player for Arizona State as well. But and I kind of lean to the Sun Devils, but the one thing that I'm leery of is that Arizona's playing this team for the first time since that half-court heave. You got to believe they've circled it on their schedule that if we meet this team again in the Pac-12 tournament, we're out for blood. And we saw against Stanford, they didn't play their best, but when they put their foot down late in that game, they ran away with it against Stanford. And that offense is just incredible to watch. Absolutely loaded. Ballo and Tubelis down low are a handful. Hard to contain them. I don't know if Arizona State's going to be able to do that. Courtney Ramey, veteran presence for this team. Kirk Reese has improved a lot at the point guard spot. There's just so much to like right now with this Arizona squad. And if they're locked in tonight, they can absolutely cover this number as favorites because they can be that good when they're on their game. And this might be one night where they want to be on their game, considering how Arizona State just stole one from them just recently. So for that reason, I'm going to probably end up staying off the game.
I get that. I still feel like this spread might just be too big. I mean, even if Arizona comfortably won by 7, you get the cover. I think I'm going to move on Arizona State here. I agree that it is likely that they punch their ticket, but you don't want to leave anything to question. I guess you could be pretty sure, that they punched.
Hey, you could look at it the other way too. Arizona State didn't play great, and for much of that game against Arizona and still won. At all. By the way, +8, -110 at Bet365. Believe me, I'm tempted. I lean Arizona State as well, but man, I don't want it. I don't want to be on the wrong end of Arizona playing their A game because their A game can win by 20 here or at least 15.
And by the way, we have, I undo paste. We have the spreadsheet play of the day in, and it is on Arkansas. Spreadsheet play of the day is on Arkansas. I have a bunch of question marks beside Texas A&M. I've got enough action now. I will take Texas A&M off of my action. Shout out to our Ron Crawford. The spreadsheet play of the day is in, and it is on Arkansas. Wow, Dan Kelly says Lakers former trainer says LeBron could be out for the season. All right, let's review all of college basketball action before we get into our 6-game NBA card. I will review Bobano's NHL action at the end of the show. Here we go. I'm on the under 127 and Rutgers Purdue right now. Waiting for that to pop off. And for Bobano, he starts with the over 138 in Middle Tennessee, Florida Atlantic, and he's got East Carolina +23. Right now it is 9-8 East Carolina, 5 minutes and 55 seconds into that one. And the second half just starting right now in Rutgers, Purdue. Then Bobano is on the over 139 in Mississippi State, Alabama. He's on the over 137 at -110. And he's also on Michigan State -3.5. My hopes that I could get in on Michigan State at -4 from the 4.5 is gone. Sensabaugh is out, so it's now 6.5 points. Upsetting. Too bad. So going to have to take the Michigan State look off my card. That's upsetting. Could have bet it during the show. Felt like the market was moving towards Ohio State. That hurts bad. Okay, let's keep rolling. Bobano is on Missouri +6. Stimmy OG's on that Tennessee, Missouri under 140.5. It's dropped down to 138 at some books. UConn Marquette, we stayed off. Bobano and I are both. Johnny Gunn says, why not Michigan State first half? Because the whole idea was I want Ohio State to have heavy legs. I don't want them, with the star player down, and we know what happens to fight hard early. I have to stay off of it, Johnny Guns, personally. Bobano and I are, and I've got action. So it's one got away from me. That'll happen. Bobano and I are both on Northwestern. I'm on Duke -2.5. Bobano's on the over 144 in Duke, Miami. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day's on Arkansas. Bobano and I are not involved in that one. Bobano's on Iowa State +5 at -110 up against Kansas. Bobano's on Oregon +5.5 in the over 133.5 in Oregon, UCLA. Razor Sharp Picks gave us his gambler's first glance. It's Kansas under 130. He's also got Missouri +6 and Penn State under 130.5. I am moving on Creighton minus the points. Bobano moved on UConn and Creighton moneyline parlay. Bobano and I are both on Indiana to take care of Maryland. Then we stayed off Vandy, Kentucky. I am on Texas. Bobano's on Clemson +3.5, and I am joining them. I'm going to be on Arizona State +7.5 as well. That is our college breakdown here.
You know what? At 8, I'm gonna pray to the heavens that Arizona State, is just matches up good enough. I'm gonna go on them too, Jimmy. ASU +8 -110 bet 365. I'm gonna bet.
Oh wow,
Arizona
it's an 8
State.
to bet 365. I need to bet that fast. Okay.
Yeah.
I like it. Ron Crawford, by the way, also has Mizzou. And then just to close it out, Dabby Cab is on was on Purdue first half -3.5, so we didn't get that one. He's on UConn first half -1.5, Miami first half +1.5, Kansas first half -2.5. He's doubling up on Memphis first half and full game, and he's on Utah State first half at -120. We have action for you guys here, huge action, and we also have our NCAA Pub Hub tomorrow morning, Saturday morning, and talk to us a little bit about the weekend NCAA Pub Hub action.
Yeah, if you want more college basketball on today's card, Cab and Connor will be on later at 5 p.m. Eastern, so tune in for that with Net Profit. And then the three of us, for 2 shows this weekend, we're going to do Saturday and Sunday, the rest of the college basketball season. We figure, why not? This is the time of year we got up the ante a little bit. So we're going to have the college basketball Pub Hub Saturday, 10 a.m. Eastern, 7 a.m. Pacific, same time that we have had it all season, and also a Sunday edition of college basketball Pub Hub, 11 a.m. Eastern, 8 a.m. Pacific on Sunday. Just a 1-hour show on Sunday. And Sunday there'll only be a handful of games, just a couple. There's only going to be, AAC, SEC, Ivy League perhaps, and that's about it. It's a very small slate, but we will still be here for you, no doubt, on Sunday, 11 a.m. Eastern with the Pub Hub.
Excellent work, my man. Thank you so much for sharing your hard work with us. I will be in touch. Go get that cash. Follow Ian Cameron on Twitter at Bobano. Bobano, any last words for the Capper Sporting Show?
No, I'll be on NBA Pub Hub later today, 4 p.m. Eastern with Ski and with Billy. So join us for that to break down the Friday card. Dutch is going to break down his thoughts on the card coming up. Thanks to everyone in the chat for tuning in. Hit the like button. Good luck this weekend. Enjoy the hoops, everybody. See you.
There he is, Bobano in the house. We move on to NBA. It's been a horrific year, but we're 9-2 this week, plus 6.7 units, and we want to keep moving in that direction. It's never too late to stack winners. Let's get to work here and bring on your NBA expert here on our Friday shows. We love working with him, the freshest capper in the sports gambling industry. Please welcome from Las Vegas, Nevada, Dutch Boy Fresh. Dutchy, what's good, man?
Jimmy the motherfucking bag. Salute to you. All the real ones holding us down in Wi-Fi land. You already know it's all love. The NBA is a hell of a drug. And you're looking at the plug. Yeah, man. Good to be right back with you, Jim. We put in some work last time we was here on a Friday, so hopefully to keep the momentum going, my man, on a fresh Friday.
Let's get it. NBA here. Yesterday was good. But, again, sometimes the bounces go your way. Sometimes they don't. Halliburton hit a layup with 2 seconds left in the Houston Pacers game. That got me the Pacers first half team total over 63.5. Got me the Houston Indiana first half over 121. And then I cashed that Utah Orlando over 234.5 extremely easily. Let's get to work, Dutch. I actually have a little bit of momentum. Shout out to the Real Deal Prime, liking the Jays hats we got rocking here. Almost baseball season. Well, spring training's off and running, so almost time to get that cash. Shout out to you, Real Deal Prime. Thank you for the dono. All right, let's get to work. Let's get to work, Dutch. I need to keep rolling in NBA so desperately. 7 p.m. Eastern, Portland Trailblazers 31-35, 14-20 on the road at the Philadelphia 76ers, 43-22, 24-10 at home at Wells Fargo Center, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Portland 2-3 over their past 5, playing at the pace of 99.7 possessions a game. Philadelphia 4-1, playing at the pace of 98.1 possessions a game. Let's get into the line history here for this one. Kadesh, respect, my man. Thank you for thinking of us. Means a ton that you guys care about us here. Let's get to work. Portland, Philly. Philly opens up at minus, I know they were 8 at some offshores, 8.5 at Pinnacle, now 9.5. Totals wise, this opened up at 229.5 and is shot all the way up to 233. Are these teams? I can imagine that you can believe in the efficiency, but with Nurkic back and these guys battling down in the paint with a slow pace, slow enough, both under 100 possessions a game, should it really be at this number? Let's take a look here for spread and total. Spread wise, the Sixers have 65% of the tickets and the Blazers, 65% of the tickets and 92% of the cash. All this money on the Blazers, but the market quickly moving towards the Sixers. 26% of tickets and 63% of cash on the under, and yet this total has climbed and climbed. So the market not making a lot of sense unless you think that the books are opening up their arms to Portland Trailblazers cash, because they know the Sixers are going to cover by double digits, and you think that they're opening up their hands. Well, they're not, because they keep moving the total up and up and up. So they think that the big bets on the under are a mistake, I guess. Let's break down this spot for Dutch. Set the table. Blazers coming off having their 2-game winning streak snapped in that ugly 115-93 loss at Boston on Wednesday. Nurkic came back after a 14-game absence. He played 17 minutes. He had 5 points, 6 boards. Lillard went for 27. Blazers are 2-2 on their 6-game road trip. They haven't beaten a winning team since February 8th. So now over a month since they've beaten a winning team. Anthony Simons is questionable with the sprained right ankle. He's played in just one of the Blazers' last 8 games. If he's on the court, Cam Reddish goes back to the bench. Sixers come home after winning 4-5 in an impressive road trip. Finished it off with a 117-94 beatdown of the Wolves in Minnesota. Embiid went for 39-7. Maxey went for 27. And there was no James Harden. He's off the injury report. He's expected to be good to go here. Take it away for us, Dutch. Blazers, Sixers.
Yeah, man. This is a clear night and day matchup here, to be quite honest with you. You got one team at the crib that just handles business, and a bet-on team in Philly, especially at the house. They've covered 21 out of the last 29 basketball games at the crib. And then, of course, you got the Blazers, who have just been suspect as fuck on the road, especially against winning teams. They're 2-13 last 15 basketball games against a team with a winning percentage greater than 60% at the crib, which we do have in the Philadelphia 76ers. Obviously, off that road trip was a hesitation for me, but they did have 2 days, not just one. They have had 2 days off coming back from that road trip. Philly's the team, man. They really are at the crib. I like this. I think it's I think the proof is in the pudding. It's pretty much what we seen the other day with Boston. You got a team that actually is playing better defense than Boston as well. So I believe they'll give, Portland even more trouble from a defense perspective. So yeah, I like the Sixers here full game. I think they smack them around. There's levels to this shit, and I love me some Dame time. But with Maxey, Harden, and Embiid, all these boys, man, it's too much. It's just too much for P-Town. I know Nurkic is back, but I still believe they'll be too big. The boards will be a big difference, and I do believe they'll contain Dame time. Eventually, the Sixers run away with this basketball game.
We can get you a -9 and -110. Is that okay?
Yeah, we'll make it that official. I got a little bit better than that, but yeah, we'll make it official. Anything under 10, I believe, is good money here.
-9 at -110. Tell me you didn't just say that. Says people won't love it, but this is a Trailblazer spot. Sixers off a long road trip with a signature win against the Bucks. Can't see them being at the top of their game here.
Signature win against the Bucks. They turn around and smack the fucking Wolves out, in the back. So I don't think
destroyed the Wolves without Harden. So I'm not convinced of that. Also, we have to give some credence to the idea that 92% of the cash is on the Blazers and the money in the market keeps going to the Sixers. I mean, the books are just sitting back, opening their arms to any action. We'll probably see a 10 on the board if it keeps going like this.
I believe so. I mean, everything to me, it's just like I said, there's levels to it. The trends, every single thing. You got a bet on team at the crib, a better basketball team, a deeper basketball team. Against the Portland Trailblazer team, who's really been an auto fade on the road. So yeah, I like this game. The number doesn't scare me. It's high for a reason, and all the money, as you mentioned on Portland, the number's still getting bigger.
Yeah, that's extremely interesting. I may be joining you here. Why are you off of a double up or a triple up? Why are you focusing on solely the full game?
Because I think Portland could stay. Portland's got some talent with Jeremy Grant. They did play recently, earlier this year in Portland, and the Sixers beat them by 10. Eventually, the better team is just going to win. The long road trip, they did have 2 days. The only red flag for me was coming off the road trip, and then I seen they had the extra day, so kind of squashed that. They know what they can do to this team. So are they worried if it's a tie basketball game at halftime? I don't think so whatsoever. They'll flip the switch and blow them out by 15 in the third quarter.
I'm interested in joining you here. Let's move on to the next spot on the board. 7 p.m. Eastern, Atlanta Hawks, 33-33, 15-20 on the road at the Washington Wizards, 31-35, 15-16 at home. We're at Capital One Arena in Washington, D.C. Both teams 2-3 over their past 5. Both teams just met. Atlanta playing at a pace of 99.5 possessions a game, while Washington playing at 96.88 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. This one opened up with Washington at +1. They're now +1.5. A very slight half-point move towards Atlanta. Total-wise, this opened up at 238, which is exactly where it is now. It hasn't moved from this 238 line. Take a look at the cash flow for this one. We have 42% of the tickets and 92% of the cash on the Wizards. And the market has moved slightly towards Atlanta. That's hard to figure out. 49% of the tickets and 77% of the cash is on the over. And some offshores have it dropped a point, which makes me think the under's in play. Atlanta doesn't defend well. And there's, you'll see pace where you can think, oh, this shouldn't hit that number. And yet it does with Atlanta. This is a showdown between teams sitting 8th and 10th in the Eastern Conference standings right now, Atlanta being in 8th. They just met here in Washington on Wednesday. Hawks won 122-120. It was 114-114 tied, and then Atlanta went on a bit of a run. Trae Young went for 28 and 10 assists. The reason why it's brought up is because he went 11 of 14 shooting. He played very well. So Porzingis went for a career-high 43. Beal only dropped 24. Kuzma, 25 and 10. And nobody was helping off the bench. Nobody else. Kispert had 10, and nobody else helped. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Hawks, Wizards.
Yeah, man. I know you like these games, Jim, where they play back-to-back. I'm not as fond of them, especially considering I had Atlanta -2.5 the first round, and KP, hit that 3 as the clock went out. A little frustrating there. The hooker got me. But yeah, man, I don't, it's too hard to bet on a team, I feel like, to win 2 times, and especially Atlanta, whose average loss, on the road, they lose a game by average 2 points when they play on the road. So they're not a team that you want to back necessarily on the road. They did get it done, here obviously a couple days ago. KP played out of his mind. Jimmy touched on it. Nothing, absolutely fucking nothing from the role players. personally, I would expect them to step up. The role players play an awful lot better. I don't expect KP to be like that, but obviously Atlanta has trouble with him. So I think Wizards right here. If you have to bet this basketball game, I'm not playing it. I just simply don't believe Atlanta goes into Washington and beats them 2 times in a row. They're 1-4 ATS, last 5 on the road. Washington has been greedy at the house as well. So I have to bet the Wizards here. I just don't trust Atlanta to win 2 road games back to back.
Joe Yurkovich also talking about Atlanta playing in Boston tomorrow, or playing Boston, in Atlanta tomorrow.
Huge.
Yeah.
I missed that actually. So strong point.
And that kind of leads me towards thinking, if the Wizards can control the pace, I'm not going to do it, but if they could, I would think that the under would be in play. I'm not going to. I don't think I'm going to do this here. Turnsey in the house. Great to see you. Bo Jackson looking at Wizards first half. Hawks money line. And the Sweaty Butcher says Hawks 10-1 to the over as away favorites this season, covering the average total of 234 by 12 points. Wow.
Good shit.
All right. Dutch is locked in here on the Wizards. Let's see what he's going to do.
No.
Oh, you're not. You just lean.
Not official. Just
not official.
Okay. Give you a little something. This would be an easy back if we were somewhere. But yeah, I'll give you a little. That's it. I don't see it. I don't trust Atlanta. Strong point there by Joe as well. Yeah, man. If I had to bet this game, I'd be all over the Wizards, but I don't have to.
All right. Well, let's move on. Next up for us, 8 p.m. Eastern, another matchup of teams that met on Wednesday night. Cleveland Cavaliers 42-26, 14-19 on the road at Miami Heat 35-32, 21-13 at home, Miami-Dade Arena. Cleveland 4-1 over the past 5, 96.78 possessions a game. Miami 2-3, playing at a pace at 96 possessions a game. Let's move into the line history here. Move over here. We have Cleveland opening up as a 1-point favorite. They are now 2-point dogs. They opened up at 1 and quickly went to 1.5. Now 2-point dogs. Go over to the total here. This total opened up at 213.5. It's dropped a point to 212.5. Take a look at the cash here. We have the Heat with 38% of the tickets and 88% of the cash. I mean, this is very telling here. Then you have 30% of the tickets and 66% of cash on the under. These teams just met here in Miami on Wednesday in 104-100 Cavalier victory. Garland went for 25. Donovan Mitchell went for 18. They've won 11 of 15. BJ saying Darius Garland was not at shoot-around. Garland not at shoot-around. Dan Kelly says Cavs have played well without Garland this season. By the way, Dan Kelly's on the first half. Portland, Philadelphia under 119. So, there was a couple things that happened, this week. One, Jared Allen just shut down Bam. And then we saw Embiid, completely shut down Gobert. But I was interested watching Jared Allen hold Bam to 1 rebound. Impressive. Jared Allen went 15 and 12. Mobley 15, 6 and 6. Okoro went for 13. The Heat committed 24 turnovers. I mean, that just can't happen in a big game. Butler went for 28. Hero 22. This is the final game of a 5-game homestand. They're 2-2. This is just a must-win spot for the Heat, and I would like to back them here. Let's hear what Dutch has to say. Cavs, Heat.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you, Jim. I just it's almost the same exact damn thing as the game we just talked about. It was a tough basketball game. Cleveland pulled it out there at the end. Miami, I'm more confident. It's like reverse, though. I actually am more confident in Cleveland than I would be on the road than obviously in Atlanta. I'm less confident in Miami at the crib than I am with the Wizards here, unfortunately. I just feel, man, Miami, bro, they're 9-23 and 2 against the spread at the house. 9-23 at the house, bro. Like, I mean, it's like they're not used to South Beach. I don't know. Obviously, Cleveland's been there, hung around. They do seem like they got some good head on their shoulders there, but I don't know how long you want to let these boys hang around in South Beach. So no Garland, it looks like. Clear Miami spot, Jim. Definitely is a Miami spot. This team is bipolar as fuck, untrustworthy as fuck. So I'm not going to go to the window with it, but it's the same feeling as pretty much the Wizards here. If I had to bet it, it would be MIA.
I'm going to bet it. I'm going to be on Miami Heat here. This just lines up too much for me to
What
not
it comes
play.
down to is take care of the basketball. 24
Mhm.
turnovers. They don't turn the ball over 24 times. They win game one.
All right. I'm going to move on. The Heat. That's my first. I've made a bet pre-show here. Jack Rosemont joining me with the Heat. Let's move on. 8 p.m. Eastern. Brooklyn Nets 37-29, 18-17 on the road at and yeah, Ron Crawford says already. I know it's figured into the line. I was just is that part of your spreadsheet statistics? I know it's into the line now because it's moved to 3.5 points. I just in your numbers was that including Garland off the floor? That's all.
Jimmy over 22.5 to our boy E liking that. You probably need to hit that for the Miami to win, I would think, too.
Banana Boat's on the Mavs money line. Well, Banana Boat Garland was not at shoot around, so it may make you uncomfortable there. Grit and Grind's on the under 215 there. It's down to 212.5 at some books. All right, let's move on to Brooklyn, Minnesota, Target Center, Minneapolis, Minnesota. Both teams 3-2 over the past 5. Brooklyn playing at a pace of 102.8 possessions a game. Minnesota playing at a pace of 100.40 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have Brooklyn opening up at plus 4.5, which is exactly where they are right now. It looked like this was going to go to a 4. The juice started mounting on Minnesota. That's not the case anymore. It's slightly juiced to Brooklyn. Totals wise, this opened up at 233. It's dropped 7 points to 226, but it got as low as 225.5. So a big move towards the under. Joe Yurkovich on the Nets plus 5 and the under 226.5. Let's take a look at and Banana Boat. Thank you, my friend. Thank you for supporting $10 dono from our guy Banana Boat. Thank you, man. It means a ton to us. Shout out to Banana Boat. Let's go over to the cash here. Garland now game time decision, says Sean Dozier. Let's go over to the cash. 80% of the tickets on Minnesota, but just 63% of the cash. Bigger bets coming in on Brooklyn. Totals wise, 63% of the tickets and 99% of the cash on the under. A huge move on the under. Big bets on the under. Market moving towards the under. Leo said it says Minnesota's failed to cover 7 straight times against Eastern Conference opponents. Brooklyn on the second half of back-to-back after having their 3-game winning streak snapped, 118-113 loss at Milwaukee last night. It was a pretty impressive performance. I mean, they were down huge early. Patty Mills, 23. Cam Thomas, 21. No Claxton, no Dinwiddie, no Cam Johnson, no Royce O'Neal, and Mikal Bridges and Finney Smith barely played. So they're all expected to be back here. Everyone is expected to be available tonight. Wolves coming off having their 3-game winning streak snapped as well. It was ugly. 117-94 loss at home to the Sixers on Wednesday night. They shot 39.5% from the field. That was a seasonal low. Ant put up 32, and nobody else did anything. Rudy Gobert held to 6 points, playing like the little bitch that he is. Take it away here for us, Dutch. Nets, Wolves.
Yeah, man. Excuse me. Yeah, man. I really like the Wolves here. I'm fading Brooklyn here. I don't give a fuck. They play well a couple basketball games. This ain't a basketball team. They got a loaded roster, but ain't no team. Minnesota, you're getting them in a good spot here after getting smacked around by Philly, as Jim touched on. And they've been solid as well against teams. Brooklyn obviously a different roster, but the record is the record. The Wolves are 12-5 ATS last 17 versus a winning team. 8-1 ATS last 9 meetings versus these Nets. And the Nets are somewhat of a suspect on the road. They've lost 7 out of last 9 basketball games straight up on the road. Pretty low number here, I believe. I understand why people could like the Nets here, getting some of their guys back. But I simply just believe Minnesota will show up tonight at the crib. I like Edwards. I think Gobert, obviously you touched on 6 points, 9 rebounds, putrid as fuck. Should have a huge game, really outside of Claxton. What is there out there? So Gobert should have one of those 15-15 type of games tonight, to be quite honest with you. I would look for Edwards to have a big game. But yeah, man, I like Minnesota here. I don't trust Brooklyn on a back-to-back situation. Still trying to figure out that roster going into Minnesota. I just don't see it. They impressed me in Boston, being down 28, coming back. Boston has shown that no lead is safe with them, but that was impressive. Outside of that, Brooklyn has been what I've expected, so I'm looking to exploit them here. And Minnesota, best number we can get full game.
Wow, look at Dan Kelly. Brooklyn on the road last 8, first quarter, 0-8 against the spread by an average of 13.5 points.
Damn, that's juicy right there.
That it's such an interesting angle from Dan Kelly because, even like Joe Yurger was saying, I love this Brooklyn team and how they're shaping out. They're grinding out type of team, and the markets don't know it yet. Yeah, they grind it out. They keep fighting, but that makes me want to move on Minnesota first quarter here after the debacle against Philadelphia. I love that, Dan. I'm going to move on Minnesota first quarter here. It kind of correlates with the way Dutch sees the game as well. Let's see what we can get for Dutch. We can get him. It just moved to 4. So it just moved to 4 at Pinnacle. -4 at -105 for Dutch. -4, -105. And I will be on the T-Wolves first quarter there. Thank you, Dan, for that important note. All right. Yes, Mally Mal, everybody is supposed to be back from what I've learned for Brooklyn. All right, let's move on. The second to last game on the board here, 8 p.m. Eastern. Denver Nuggets, 46-20. 16-15 on the road at San Antonio Spurs, 16-49, 10-22 at home at AT&T Center in San Antonio, Texas. Denver 4-1 over their past 5, playing the pace 98.25 possessions a game. San Antonio 2-3, playing the pace of 101.50 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here. Sorry, here we go. We have the Spurs opening up at plus 11.5. They're now plus 12.5. Total wise, this opened up at 234.5. It's up to 236, gone up 1.5 points. Let's take a look at the cash flow here. We have, here we go. 64% of the tickets and 68% of cash on the Spurs. Market's not moving towards them, even though some of the bigger bets and the public on them. 48% of the tickets, it just moved. 47% of the tickets and 82% of cash on the under, and it's gone up 1.5 points. So that is confusing. Nuggets had their 4-game winning streak snapped in a surprise 117-96 loss at home to the Bulls on Wednesday night. Joe Yurkovich says, if Denver didn't lose last game, I would have been on these Spurs, but a real video in the house giving Dutch a shout out. Jokic went for 18, 12, and 8, but he had a 51-game streak of hitting at least half of his field goal attempts, and that is over. Aaron Gordon went for 17. MPJ went for 12. Jamal Murray, 11. Second lowest scoring game of the season for the Nuggets. They're a game and a half behind Milwaukee for the best record, if that's something that matters to them. What up, Loopy? Great to see you. Spurs are a rested group. They come in off getting swept by Houston at home and home on Saturday and Sunday, allowing the Rockets to combine for 266 points over those 2 games. They were atrocious defensively. Houston shot 61.2% from the floor. A Houston team that struggles shooting the ball. Bates Diop led with 17, Bassie and Graham 14. Spurs were without Zach Collins, Trey Jones, and Jeremy Sohan. Collins and Sohan are expected to be available while Trey Jones remains out. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Nuggets, Spurs.
Yeah, man. Shout out to our guy OG Wham in the building. I see you, my man. Yeah, Jim. I don't have much on this one, man. I don't like San Antonio whatsoever. I mean, they really been getting a lot of us boys paid out here if you've been fading them. It has to be Denver here. Yurkovich touched on it. They got punked at home by Chicago. I mean, Chicago jumped out them on early and then kind of just stepped on these motherfuckers. Double digits by the end of the day. I would look for Denver to come out pissed the fuck off. It's a big number. Maybe first half. Yeah, they probably blow them out, Jim. I just can't get to the window with it. But yeah, you have to look for a way to exploit San Antonio here. Pissed off Denver basketball team.
And to do that, would you focus on the half? You want to go? Lee Davis says Nuggets first half team total is 64.5. They may go off. I mean, I cashed the Nuggets first half team total over against the Rockets in Houston in a similar spot to this.
First quarter is too high of a spread, so I could only look first half or team total over first half.
64.5 is a high one. I mean, yesterday I had the Pacers to get over 62.5. They scored 38 in the first quarter, 38, and I still needed a bucket with 2 seconds left to cash it. So
yeah, that's crazy. Huh?
I like it though, Lee, and I have some interest in it. Dan Kelly says if you like Denver, wait till halftime. So All right, let's talk about the final game on the board. This one will be fun. 10:30 p.m. Eastern. Toronto Raptors 32-35, 12-22 on the road at the LA Lakers 32-34, 17-15 at home. We're at Crypto.com Arena in Los Angeles, California. Toronto's 2-3 over their past 5, playing at a pace of 95.51 possessions a game. Lakers are 3-2, playing at a pace of 102.70 possessions a game. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Raptors opening up at +1. They're now -2.5. A big move towards them. Totals wise, it's opened up at 224.5. There's been an 8-cent move to the over. A huge move towards the Raptors here. And 63% of the tickets and 74% of cash is on the Lakers. So is this a player personnel situation? Total wise, 37% tickets and 72% cash is on the under. 37 and 72, and yet it's now more juice to the over. Toronto is 1-3 on this 5-game road trip. They really want to end it with a win and some momentum here. Mally Mal says Raptors aren't good at basketball. Keeping it simple, Mally Mal. Keeping it simple. Lee Davis says Raptors going to be playing after Van Fleet went off the other night. We kind of liked it, but I can understand, not wanting to, upset the Stripes, but we kind of liked it. So Raptors coming off their second straight loss, 3rd in 4 games, 108-100 at the Clippers on Wednesday night. They shot 38.5% from the field. Siakam and Barnes each scored 20. It was disappointing. It was ugly. I mean, the Clippers had been allowing ridiculous amount of points to everybody, and we barely crack 100. Lakers come in off their second straight win and 3rd in 4 games, 112-103 at home to Memphis on Tuesday. AD went for 30 and 22 boards. He's stepping up huge over his last 5 games, 33 points, 13.8 boards. Schroeder, Hachimura, Reeves each went for 17. And Mo Bamba going to be out at least 4 weeks. But D'Angelo Russell expected to return this evening. Take it away for us here, Dutch. Last game on the board, Raptors, Lakers.
Yeah, man. I really like Toronto here. Honestly, I think Lakers getting a little too much love. I backed them the other night, +105 against the Grizzlies at the crib. But this one right here feels completely opposite, I feel like. I liked it a lot. I got a better number on Toronto. I like them first half as well. They covered not only the other night in against the Clippers as well as in Denver, too. First half, found a way to lose both basketball games. I don't think they lose this basketball game. I think they get out. And, I think Scotty Barnes, Van Fleet, all these boys are going to have a big game tonight. I really do. I think the Lakers are getting extremely overvalued. And when Toronto goes to L.A. specifically to play the motherfucking Lakers, they have a blast. They are 13-3 ATS last 16 meetings in L.A. They've covered 7 straight basketball games in L.A., 23-16 as a favorite this year. I like them right here as a small favorite. I think they get the job done, as you touched on it. The last game of the road trip, a couple tough losses. And let's be honest, Scott Foster fucked these boys in Denver. And then, of course, coming around with some bullshit calls and, no filter Van Fleet kind of winning on them. I believe the team rallies around it. I like the new addition of the big boy down low from San Antonio. I think he'll give AD a little bit of issues, Big Poe. But, yeah, it comes down to knocking down that perimeter shot. I do believe they'll lock down on defense. I'm not worried about Russell. He'll probably throw it off a little bit, to be quite honest with you. Maybe take away from Schroeder, who's actually been looking pretty good since, LBJ and Russell have been out. So could throw it off a little bit. I expect AD to do his thing. But overall, I think Scotty, Siakam, OG, these boys will show up, play some fucking defense, rebound the basketball, knock down open perimeter shots. Give me Toronto first half for the show purposes. I don't know if I'm going to do the full line because I've lost a lot of value on it here. But I do think we still could find something on first half here. What's the best line full game?
-2.
Okay, we can make that official. I'm not doing 2.5 though. We'll do 2 and then first half as well.
-0.5 at -113.
It's good money.
All right, Dutch is doubling up here.
You see the vibes? We got 2 Toronto hats. We got 2 motherfucking bets on this bitch. Yeah, man.
I'm going to be cheering heavy. I wonder if I'm going to join. So the news that Dan Kelly dropped that it's possible that LeBron is now done for the season We will find out. Joe Yurkovich said Toronto hanging out in LA for 3 days. That's never good. But it is important, very important to end this 5-game trip, with some momentum here. So there you go. Raptors first half minus a half minus 113. Raptors full game -2 for Dutch. He is locked in. Let's review all NBA action here on this fresh Friday. Dutch is on the Sixers -9, and I am interested in it. Atlanta, Washington, we've stayed off. I'm moving on the Heat. Dutch is on the Timberwolves -4 -105. I'm moving on the Wolves first quarter. Then we stayed off Nuggets, Spurs, and Dutch is doubling up on the Raptors. First half minus half, full game -2. Thank you so much for taking the time to roll with us here on a Friday, Dutch. Have yourself a monster weekend. Can't wait to hang. I've heard rumors that you're going to be rocking with us in San Antonio. Are those fact-based?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I went ahead and, you know what I'm saying, made it official. So yeah, I'll be in the SA round motherfucking 2. And like I said, it's the people that bring me back out to Texas, man. It's the people. So hopefully we'll have a whole bunch of the real ones in the chat vibing out with us in San Antonio. It's a good time, and definitely looking forward to kicking it with you again, my dude.
Oh, and I'm going to have way more time this trip. I won't be working nearly as much. Only one show Friday. We're going to do a live bet stream Thursday night, but I just have the one show Friday morning, and then that's it. I'm just going to be hanging, be rested.
I'll be flying in Friday afternoon.
Beautiful. Oh, that's dope, man. Dutch is coming to San Antonio. Follow our guy on Twitter at DutchBoyFresh. Dutch, that's spectacular news. I love it. Thank you, my friend. Any last words here for the Capper Sport in the show?
I mean, always enjoy Fresh Friday with you, Jim. Salute to all the real ones holding us down. Be sure to run up them likes. My guy Jimmy be here for about 3 hours doing the damn thing. Hit the like button, share the video. Y'all stay fresh.
There he is, Dutch Boy Fresh in the house. It is our final show of the week here, and it's been a monster week for us. But we need to stack these monster weeks. But 31-19 right now, plus 11.61 units. We have a special guest coming to us live from Miami, Florida, where he is anxiously awaiting the World Baseball Classic. Please welcome the producer of this show, a young Jose Sweet Tea Tits Bouquet. How are you, my friend?
Good. Jimmy, can you hear me and everything?
Yeah, you sound good.
Beautiful. Hello. Nice to see you as always.
Nice to see you, buddy.
Yeah, I heard you had a good week when I'm away. So I'm glad that I could leave you and you can do this and do the damn thing now.
Thank you. It is it means a ton. It means a ton. I need it so bad. I need my bankroll right so bad. Like I just needed it so bad. I don't want to keep saying how badly I needed it, but you guys get the idea.
No, I agree wholeheartedly. Just as bad. You need that bankroll. I need Japan or Venezuela to win the Baseball World Classic. I need it as bad as I need to breathe. It would be very beneficial for one, my bills, and two, my future tattoo that I hopefully get. So that'd be nice.
And we just heard that Dutch Boy Fresh will also be making an appearance. So
yeah. I mean, obviously, I'm not excited for that because he's just gonna bully me the whole time. But at least he'll be taller than someone there, so that'll be nice.
Oh no! Well, tell us about what's going on for you, man. We're very excited. What is your content hold as we move forward, and what do you want us to know about?
Yeah, so I think I'm going to do just say, hey, little minutes here. It's going to be a late night. I don't know, late night, whenever the lines come out, because I've been refreshing all of our friends at Bovada, Bet Online, just waiting for them to drop lines, essentially. So it's going to be about, we'll call it the Say Hey Minute. We'll drop those on YouTube Shorts, put them on social media, giving plays of the day, whatever you want to call it. Dan Kelly, I did get a haircut, by the way. So there you go. Thanks for asking. But yeah, it'll be basically a Say Hey Minute talking about plays that I like that day officially. Not officially, because I've been quietly betting these games, just trying to get my feet wet a little bit. 2-2. My 2 losses were kind of just shits and giggles bet. I bet Japan -9.5 against China just for the laughs. You know, I told the gambling group chat, I'm going to tell my kids one day that I laid a -9.5 in a baseball game. So that'll be a lot of fun. Same thing with Korea. I did -3.5 there. They lose to Australia. So those are my 2 losses. I had team total wins in the first 2 days, but whatever. I unofficial bets, so I don't really sweat them too hard. But officially we'll be doing the Say Hey minutes, hopefully starting tonight because we'll be previewing tomorrow's games. I will be there at, I think I'll be at both games, actually, Nicaragua, Puerto Rico, to see those fucking blonde losers of Puerto Rico. And then the biggest baseball game of my life, Dominican Republic, Venezuela. Shout out to my guy, Martin Perez, close personal friend. He will be starting for Venezuela. I can't wait. I'm going to cry right now thinking about the national anthem again. But yeah, no, I can't wait. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. It's definitely weird going to things by yourself, though, Jimmy. As a 25-year-old, I've never done things by myself. And going up to just drive up for baseball games and not saying a word to anyone. I literally just don't talk to anyone. And it's like a whole day of me just not talking. And I'm just like looking around. I'm just like, damn, this is weird. But yeah, it's a great time. I can't wait. And I'll have fun this weekend. It'll be a lot of fun.
If you openly sob during the national anthem, somebody may talk to you.
I really hope not. But the odds are very high of me sobbing. I would put it at a minus 150 right now of tears rolling down my face during the national anthem.
We do have a legitimate question, though, from Billy Friedrich. He says, if you can cry on command, how can we tell that the tears are real?
Well, that's a great question. Billy. I can't answer that question. I can only say that it's just I always, whenever I'm watching Venezuela, there's always just a constant lump in my throat. It makes me very emotional. I don't know what it is. The same thing with soccer and Liverpool. It's a weird thing. I'm a crier, is what I've learned in my years. I just cry all the time now, whether it's on command or it's sports related. I just cry.
It's a gift and a curse you have there.
It is.
Alec, by the way, is joining the Mike M for a live stream for Tennessee, Missouri, coming up in a second. Exciting stuff. So you got 2 big games tomorrow, and we'll have content coming forward from you for the World Baseball Classic. And then in 2 weeks, we have day 1 of Pubapalooza 2.
Yeah, I'm obviously very excited about that. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. Lovely schedule here. I'll keep telling people to sign up for those damn events because we need it. We need bodies. Sign up for the events. It's going to be a whole lot of fun. I've told my family members that I'm commentating a slap contest, and they're very interested. And then, as you would say, they get more and more interested, and then they lack all interest at some point. They just goes all the way at some point.
Suddenly no interest whatsoever.
Yeah. That's how it happens. That's what I've learned.
I love it. Well, we're all excited for you to be out in Miami for the World Baseball Classic. So we're all looking forward to see your video. Where can we see the 1-minute shorts?
They will be on YouTube or on the Pub Sports Radio YouTube. So just go on our channel. You'll see them there. Keep them under a minute. Make them nice bite-sized things. So it'll be a whole lot of fun. Hopefully it'll be easy to watch, but it's going to be fun. China, Australia, Italy, Panama, Czech Republic, Germany, or Czech Republic, Japan, excuse me. And then Netherlands, Chinese, Taipei is the game that I've circled today. Is the big good game. The 6 a.m. start time. I just love waking up. The best part about this, Jim, you go to sleep, you watch them baseball, you wake up, it's there. Just beautiful. Just makes me openly weep.
It does sound nice. It does sound very nice. Jose, it's great also to hear your voice and have you back here with us for the show. Stick around while we close it out. Let's review all action here. But first and foremost, this is probably going to be a sweat here in Rutgers, Purdue, 58-52 now.
What do you have?
I have the under 117. So we have 4 minutes, 17 points.
I'll tell you, I saw some good cappers live betting Purdue there, and I saw Cab. Shout out to Cab. Go watch NCAA Net Profit today with Cab. He also said Purdue just had the worst first half ever, and they somehow found a way to go up and be up at the half. So shout out to him.
Oh yeah, sorry, I said 117. Sorry, of course. I had 17 points in my head because they needed 17 more. I have under 127, 17 more. I lose now 15 more with 3:23 left. 127.
Yeah, you're going to be sweating your dick off there. That's going to be a pacing back and forth, and it might even be a "Daddy, why is Daddy so angry?" moment.
I don't think so. After a beautiful 4-figure night last night, there's a little less pressure on me here. A little less.
There you go. And by the way, shout to Cashman19. Just bet Purdue -1.5 live. So shout out to him.
Beautiful.
I like that too. I'm not betting it because I fucking can't stand betting basketball. But yeah.
All right, let's review all action here. I'm on the under 6 plus 105 in Chicago, Florida. Even with the Mrazek announced in, still we have a 20-cent move towards the under. Feel great about it. Bobano moved on 5 different props. Barkov over 3.5 shots plus 114. Kachuk over 3.5 shots minus 154. Ekblad over 3.5 shots minus 105. And Bennett over 2.5 shots minus 104. Lister-Reinen point at minus 118. I'm off of Ducks Flames, but Bobano's on Backlund over 3.5 shots plus 110. Blake Coleman over 2.5 shots minus 135. Anderson a point at minus 145. Coleman a point at plus 100. Then in college basketball, 3:23 left, 60-52, 15 points in 3:23. We know the mayhem that happens late. And the only way the mayhem won't happen is if Rutgers stops scoring and Purdue continues to score. That would be good for me here. So that's coming down to the wire. Then Bobano's on the over 138 in Middle Tennessee, Florida Atlantic. He's on Eastern Carolina plus 23. They're down 2. Look at that first half in Houston, 23-21. Not in Houston. Of course, that's it in Fort Worth. But wow, 23-21. Bobano's on the over 139 in Mississippi State, Alabama. That's 41-21 at the half. Look, everything correlated for Alabama, and I got in my own way with this whole stupid Brandon Miller situation. Dumb. But I'm not on the other side. But Bobana's on the over 137 in Ohio State, Michigan, and Michigan State minus 3.5. He's on Missouri plus 6. Stimmy OG got on in the Tennessee, Missouri under 140.5. Then we stayed off UConn Marquette. We're both on Northwestern. He's on money line. I'll probably take the spread. I'm on Duke minus 2.5. He's on the over 144 at minus 115. Ron Crawford spreadsheet play of the day is Arkansas. I did lean towards Texas A&M. I'm now off of it. Bobano's on Iowa State plus 5. Dabby's on Kansas first half. Bobano's on Oregon plus 5.5 in the over 133.5. Gambler's first glance from Razor Sharp picks is the under 130. He's also on Missouri plus 6 and Penn State under 130.5. I'm on Creighton. Bobano is going UConn Creighton parlay. Money line plus 148. Bobano's on Indiana money line. I'm also going to be on Indiana. We stayed off Vandy, Kentucky. I'm going to be on Texas, and Bobano and I are both on Clemson. Bobano and I are both on Arizona State. Bobano and I, this is a rarity that we have this many bets on the same side. Then Dutch is on the Sixers minus 9. I'm going to move on the Heat and the Timberwolves first quarter. Dutch is on the Timberwolves minus 4 full game. We're off Denver, San Antonio. Dutch is doubled up on the Raptors first half minus a half, full game minus 2. Jose, that concludes our week here. Very difficult without you. I can't wait till you're back. It's very difficult, especially like the few minutes before the show starts. I'm a panic.
Well, that's just all you. That's all you. Yeah, you'll panic, and everything will be fine, but you'll just panic and panic.
It's a panicky.
That's why I have to be so cool, calm, and collected. You know, Jimmy panics, and I'm just like everything's gonna be all right. You know,
you are.
Let's just say, Jimmy, if you were a baseball player, you would not be a closer. You would not be a closer for a baseball team because the panic would run through you. I feel.
It's interesting, but when the lights are on, I'm cool as a cucumber, though. Maybe not.
Yeah, when the lights are on, but when the manager looks at the bullpen and sees his closer freaking the fuck out, I'd be like, I don't know if I want to put him in.
Sweating buckets.
Yeah, hey, it's all right. It's all right. I respect it. Like you said, the lights come on.
I've got to get a bunch of bets in here, and then I have the great joy of time stamping the show, which takes over an hour. So I got to get to work on that. I miss you. I miss having the graphics, so I don't have to timestamp. Can you please send us in, bless our picks, and send us into the future with some lechery?
Sure. By the way, before we go, I'm going to call out someone. Can someone do a wellness check on Boston Nick? This fucking guy, man. Could you, Jimmy? I text Boston Nick 3-4 days ago. Hey Nick, I'm gonna be in your area. Let's go get lunch. I also need your help securing some products for me that I can't secure on my own in Miami. This fucking guy just ghosts me. Fucking disappeared. I texted him twice. Fucking nothing. That guy just disappeared on me. So it's been fuck Boston Nick, aka Boca Raton Nick. From now on, fuck that guy.
That's sad. What about Elio?
I should hit up Elio. Shout out to Elio. I was thinking about the same thing for Ragu too, but I think Ragu fucking lives in the
Oh,
top
Ocala, yeah, he's
Florida.
too far away. Yeah, but Elio.
I might need Elio's help. But yeah, fucking this guy, man, Boston Nick, just absolutely brutalizing me and just keeping me on edge right now. So shout out to him, but no shout out to him at the same time. Thanks everyone for watching. As always, Billy Friedrich didn't ghost me at Palooza last year. He was there. He was a good soldier. Shout out to him though. But thanks everyone. Joe Yurkovich, Alec, Real Deal, Harold Rants, Billy Friedrich, Leonard Porsche, Cashman. I hope you signed up for those events. And damn it, I'll keep saying it. Sign up for those Palooza events. Sign up, sign up, sign up. And Johnny K, what I need, if you know me, you know what I need, Johnny. I need some THC in my life. But thanks everyone for watching again. I'll let you my mic. I can do that now. Leche a los bookmakers.